the greatest thing I've ever seen. You're overdue. I just felt it's something that makes you look good, and that's cool, and you know, I'm all for it, but I think you need to tone this down because now it's getting obtrusive to the show. But they can go in the afternoon for a U.S.
Hold
show,
on a second.
as they did there, and
Dave?
they can do 180,000 buys for an afternoon show, which they've also done for All In. So
okay,
we know they can do. We know they can do big.
Can I continue this before you cut me off? We know one thing.
Yes.
We know it might have done well because it went on first.
I'm not saying it would.
Here's my thing, Dave.
But here's okay. Wait. Okay, here's the thing. Oh my God, it's the greatest thing I've ever seen. I mean, it didn't mean anything to me. It was just a match.
That's the problem, Dave. It should mean something to you.
Give him a quick squash win just to show that, like, you know, he's not a loser.
Ooh, what's up, everybody? Welcome to another fantastic edition of Dave Meltzer Dumb Moment of the Week, hashtag DMDMW. I am your host, the infallible Phil Marks, and today we have an awesome show riddled with Dave Meltzer hilarity and Bryan Alvarez rage. As you guys can see in the title, Bryan Alvarez rages, Ethan Page superstar. Brian's raging about NXT, and Dave Meltzer flip-flops on his takes on Ethan Page over the last couple of years. And what makes it funny, it's not that his mind was changed, it's that he said, even if he goes to NXT WWE, he's not going to be a star, Brian. And then now he's talking about how Ethan Page is such a star and how New Japan Pro Wrestling is absolutely goated in Dave Meltzer's mind. Ladies and gentlemen, depending where you're watching this, hit like, hit subscribe, hit heart, hit retweet, or rate us 5 stars or whatever. Pull a Dave Meltzer and throw some stars at us over on Spotify or wherever you listen to podcasts. Without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, it is time for the segment from PWT Live Show, so nice that it became its own show. Live every Thursday night, and it is called Dave Meltzer's Dumb Moment of the Week.
Best guys, Tony Khan.
Flutes in the chat, everybody. And so we have Dave Meltzer this week. He's arguing with people, LoPiccolo, just a little bit of that. I found this amazing thread about Dave Meltzer's friends, which I think we might save for another show. But we have Dave talking about WWE, NXT, AEW, and all of the good stuff that you guys predict, including Chris Jericho and New Japan Pro Wrestling, which I guess Dave is saying had the best match of all time and the best match he's ever seen of all time on the same card or something stupid like that. And so, and we are live. Yeah, okay, I'm live on X, just making sure. So, ladies and gentlemen, the first thing we are going to talk about here is Dave Meltzer. I want to start with, I don't have any star ratings this week, but I want to start with Dave Meltzer talking about WWE stuff. And of course, Bryan melting down and yelling at people about NXT. And also we have Dave versus LoPiccolo, which we're going to get into. Where do we start here? So to start things off, Dave Meltzer had this to say about Cena's last year, 2025 in WWE. Let's take a look.
I think that they really peaked in 2024. It's like WCW really peaked in 97, but its best year was 98. Because they still had enough of 97 and the Bill Goldberg thing was just so big. And I think that this one, I think the John Cena dates and the John Cena retirement really made a difference this year and kept it strong. You know, John Cena's last Royal Rumble, John Cena's last WrestleMania, John Cena's last match, last pay-per-view, last
it was the last time is now is the last everything, bro.
Raw. You know, you had all of those things, and they did a fantastic job of having as many of his lasts and promoting them hard.
This is how fucking dumb they did a great job of having many of his lasts, Brian. Except actually, yeah, Dave, because it was his last year, so it's not like they even did a job of it's not like they just invented it was his last anything. It was his last thing.
But I mean, with AEW, with Sting,
and it promotes itself in a way. It's just so funny.
They didn't do that. AEW, with Sting, you had
exactly. AEW should have done that. They should have been like, oh my God, the last time Sting's going to be here, the last time Sting's going to be there. And they didn't do that because they're dummies. That's the thing. Like, you don't have to even put effort into it. It's right there. It markets itself. And instead of doing that, it was just, here's Sting's last match, and you can buy tickets for $1 at the last minute.
One match. It wasn't Sting's last time in Los Angeles, Sting's last time in Atlanta, and all that, because you didn't really promote that well. And there were reasons. I mean, Sting's, we know this.
There you go. At least he was honest that Tony Khan did not promote that shit well. Tony's going to be giving him a phone call later for
the
that.
Best guys, sure. Tony Khan.
The story, Sting's parents were not in good health, and he didn't want to commit to a lot ahead of time. So a lot of the dates that he worked were last minute, so you couldn't promote it. But WWE did a fantastic,
always a built-in excuse. You couldn't promote it.
Fantastic job of doing this all the way through, and made Cena.
And at least he's saying they did a good job. But just him listing they did a great job promoting how it's like, he didn't even say promoting at first. That's why it triggered me. He's just like, they did a great job of like the last time is this, the last time is that. Yeah. That was the name of the tour. The last time is.
I mean, I think Cena came out of this year as so much of a bigger star than he ever was in his prime.
He's wrestler of the year. And anybody who disagrees with that, I just don't think they really get what this wrestling shit is all about at the end of the day. But who am I to gatekeep? I don't know. So moving along here, Dave Meltzer talks a little bit about, let me just see, some more WWE stuff. And let's see. So they talked about Adam Pearce and Chris Jericho's appearance that was supposed to happen on Raw, but it wasn't supposed to happen. And that's the biggest issue here. Okay. The appearance wasn't supposed to happen. It wasn't promised that was going to happen. Dave Meltzer's about to tell a lie and put the famous Dave Meltzer spin on it.
Raw is also tonight. And they did do a tease that who will break the walls down. Mm-hmm. And so
they didn't do a tease. Here's the problem, too. These guys think that Adam Pearce uploading a video to his personal socials that WWE reposts or retweets is the same thing as like on their TV show, they say this thing. And even if he did break the walls down. And some people were like, I think it was Dave as well, because he's an extra dummy. I might even have it bookmarked here, but Dave said like they said they were referring to, maybe it was PWI that said this, I don't know, but they're referring to the wall in Stranger Things. Like in the Upside Down, there's a wall. You guys have all watched it by now, and there was no secret episode, #ConformityGate. But the excuse, or not even excuse, just what people reported was, they were referring to the wall in Stranger Things, breaking the wall down. But it's like, if you watch the show, no, they weren't. No, Adam Pearce is teasing the Jericho shit, obviously. And then you can cop out with the wall with the Stranger Things thing. But in Stranger Things, if you watch the show, you don't break that wall down. There's no breaking that wall down. That's the whole thing. There isn't breaking that wall down. So, spoiler alert.
Well, everyone's
that's not what Adam Pearce was talking about.
Hearing that Chris Jericho is going to debut on Raw tonight. And I don't know why they would do that tease and not have him appear, because you're just asking for fans to chant Y2J all night. But it's CM Punk.
Yeah, it's the CM Punk thing. So with CM Punk's return, they were like leaving Easter eggs and shit in graphics and doing all these little things that people caught on to, and then CM Punk showed up. So it's the same thing with Jericho. They're just little teases, little drops here and there. Oh, we didn't mean anything by it. Da 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 da. It was the same when Shinsuke, I think, did a GTS, and he's like, "Oh, well, Kenta." And it's like, no, we know Punk it's in Chicago. We know. So it's like they're dropping all these little crumbs for Jericho.
And Braun Breaker.
Maybe that's what they want
for the WWE title. It's Liv Morgan and Lyra. Maxine versus Becky Lynch for the Intercontinental title, and Kabuki Warriors versus Rhea and Io Sky for the tag team titles.
Yes, this is the Netflix first anniversary show, and they're pushing it really hard. Like this is a major show, and it is the biggest night in the career of Braun Breaker. So, I mean, he's going to be a star whether he has a great match tonight or not. But
whether he has a great match tonight or not.
But it's still the biggest night of his career.
Raw is
Dave. Yeah, so moving along here. It was the biggest night in his career or whatever. But Dave Meltzer, he talks about WWE a little bit more here. And he actually rated Carmelo Hayes versus Ilya Dragunov for the United States Championship 4.5 stars, Bryan. Was it that good of a match? Like, yeah, the moves they did and shit. I just think he rates everything too high, WWE included. And so this is a continuation, though, on the Jericho stuff. Dave Meltzer is like, they told you he would be there. But no, they didn't tell anyone he would be there. They just said, break the walls down. It's like John Cena hitting a spear doesn't mean Edge is going to be there. Now, I know Redax, and this is why they think shit like this, because, Dave, you say shit like this, and you train these fucking clapping seals to then think, oh, that means Edge is returning.
There was no Chris Jericho, despite Adam Pearce doing a video a couple of days before saying, who's going to break the walls down, he said.
Yeah, so the... You heard the excuse, right?
The excuse. No, this is what PWI said or some shit. So I know Dave likes to bury other fucking dirt sheets who don't glaze him, but it's not an excuse. It's just like what some fucking guy, some rando at PWI or Mike Johnson, just dirt sheets, man. They just get told fake shit or they get told some real shit and then are kind of right. It's what every dirt sheet is.
The excuse?
Yeah, did you hear the excuse?
What was the
no excuse. It's not an excuse. Did you hear the excuse? Dave, it's not an excuse. It's just an explanation. You ask a question, it's not an excuse. The excuse, like, what do you mean? Like, Pierce thought Jericho was going to be there and he humiliated himself? Or is this exactly like the Punk thing where over weeks they're just going to slowly but surely and rarely, maybe not even that's not rare, but like sparse, it'll be sparingly. They'll fucking, that's the word I'm looking for, have little Jericho mentions, and then the WWE USA account or whatever the fuck that was will drop a USA, Twitter's account will drop like a Jericho reference like they did, and it's just building up to when he returns. That's what the fuck it is. It's not an excuse. But he's got to, again, spin it like, oh, they botched not having Jericho there. Now, I agree. They shouldn't have done that. I'll be honest, actually. I think the IWC was actually tame. I thought they'd be way more sicko and wacko melted down over Jericho not showing up on that show. Like, I thought it would be, like, there was some spurging, but I thought it would be way worse than it was. So I actually shout out the IWC for not being overly dramatic about that, but it's because we've seen WWE do this multiple times now. So it's like, we know that Jericho's eventually coming and they're just giving little subtle teases, but Dave is trying to spin it as though they, like, Adam Pearce botched here and he has to make an excuse as to why he said it, but Jericho wasn't there. No, Dave, they're just planting seeds, leaving breadcrumbs along the way. It's not like he fucked up his talking and his promo walking his dog.
Excuse.
break
A
the walls.
coincidence?
No, break the walls down was a reference to Stranger Things.
Stop.
I know. I'm just saying they actually said that. They actually.
And then Bryan just believes Dave at face fucking value. Like, what are you talking about? What do you mean, bro? You just believe what he said. Break the walls down. And that is a silly thing, because if you watch, and I'm not even going to say that someone in WWE didn't tell someone that either. I'm willing to bet they did. But it's just like, if you watch the show, it's about, we need to get through this wall. And then it becomes, oh, we can't. You don't do anything with this wall. And no point is it, we got to break this wall down.
Sure they did, but.
Yeah, no.
The fans chanted for Jericho during the show.
Well, I mean, here's the deal, okay?
Yeah, yes, they've chanted for him during a handful of shows. They also chanted for CM Punk. Okay? For 10 years, bro.
They told you, they told you Jericho was going to be there, except he wasn't.
No, they didn't tell you. See, this is the spin. Dave tries to, they told you he's going to be there, but he wasn't. It was a lie.
Liar! Tell us what you know, you goddamn liar!
Meanwhile, fucking Dave is the one lying here. Just embarrassing, man.
There. They can say they didn't, but
they can say they didn't, but they did. No, Dave, this is insane. This is insane. This is like sociopathic fucking narcissism disorder. I don't know. I'm not a fucking doctor, but someone needs to diagnose this guy with something. What the fuck? But they did say it. No, Adam Pearce was walking his dog, and in between takes and him picking up his dog's turd in a little one of those plastic bags and sticking it in his fanny pack, he fucking said, who's going to break the walls down before the whatever the fuck. They didn't say he's going to be there. Just like when WWE hid those, like an X in the background of that graphic or whatever, and then Punk did end up showing up, and it turns out that's what it was. They were alluding to Punk when Shinsuke hit the fucking thing. They didn't say when or where in particular. A bunch of people, even wackos, even WWE fans, were telling other WWE fans, no, they'll do it at the Rumble. Why would it happen tonight? Dave, you're telling people this, and then you're lying about some shit you just made up.
And in doing so, they disappointed people. First anniversary show, they really plugged it like it was a big deal. And tickets moved, but it was not heading to sellout levels.
See, now he's going to make up a full-blown lie here and say it wasn't at sellout levels till Adam Pearce on his personal Twitter, while his dog's pissing on a fire hydrant and sniffing the neighbor's ass, goes, and who's going to break the walls down in this tournament, or whatever the fuck he said, in this matchup, and break through to the championship. Dave, it's not that, man. And then all of a sudden that, because Pearce did that, all of a sudden ticket sales move to a sellout. Like, he's such a fucking goddamn redacted liar, bro.
Liar!
This is insane. This is actually fucking insanity, man.
And I think they really wanted to sell out bad, so that was the last desperation move.
So Raw wasn't going to sell out, and they really wanted to sell out, and they were desperate, even though the tickets were at like above 10,000 sales. Dave's just lying right now. And then they ended up doing, what was it, like 12,000, close to 13,000 people, 12 and a half on the last Raw. And meanwhile, it was already a couple days when Adam Pearce said that shit, they already had like 11,000 tickets sold. And Dave's like, oh, they really wanted those last 100 walk-up tickets. They really were desperate. Listen to the vernacular he's using. They were desperate to sell those. Dave, you're desperate. That's why all of 2025, you had 50% off sales. And that's why you started this fucking year with like $80 off for the year of Observer. And the whole year last year was a fire sale. You're desperate.
Move is
your fucking hair is desperate.
Well, we're not going to say Jericho's coming, but we're going to hint Jericho's coming.
So Dave just lies and contradicts himself. Right there. They told you, and if they say that they didn't tell you, they did tell you. And then he goes, well, listen to what he says. Well, we're not actually going to say that he's coming. So they didn't actually tell anyone, and they didn't actually say that, Dave. So you just legitimately pwned yourself within the matter of 30 seconds.
Was coming. So people were going to, you know what I mean? So I think that was the strategy behind it. They did sell a lot of tickets, like I said, at the end. They did have They said over 14,000. I know it was way over 13. I mean, it's basically pretty much packed. I mean, if they had empty seats, there weren't a lot. So, I mean, it worked.
Dave, you were worked, buddy. You were worked. Holy. That's crazy. That's craziness. For sure, Pierce was
There
teasing
was no
Jericho.
Chris Jericho.
For sure, they've been teasing Jericho in WWE. And for sure, it could have been like a mix of, well, yeah, the Wall and Stranger Things, haha. For sure, both of those could be true, and for sure, someone could have told that to Dirt Sheets. I'm not saying any of that. Just Dave is like, they told you blatantly and advertised them. Is like pretty much what it's like. No, they didn't. Not for 1 second did they do that. And even people like I said it. I would just have Breaker beat Punk, and I would have no Jericho till the Rumble. Okay, and people call me a shill for the Fed. WWE shop link below, affiliate link for no AEW, get one, dude. I'll affiliate with you guys, dude. So moving along here was Dave's take on the match itself and the ending to Stranger Things Raw, where Breaker lost and Punk was the one holding the title at the end. Dave and Bryan don't like this too much.
They probably want the people to think that Braun has earned it by losing first. You know what I mean?
I know exactly what you mean, and it's stupid.
But that is how they do it now.
I know, and they need to stop that. Like,
Well,
Vince is gone. We can.
Yeah, well,
let's stop that. Vince is gone. We can. Now, I agree. Breaker could have won that. Now, if we're just tracking Breaker's history here, I think he loses. I mean, you could say a bunch of people do in wrestling, and maybe that's because it works. But I think Breaker, didn't he lose the first shot he had at the IC title as well? And then he won it, and then he lost it. And then at the World Heavy, maybe he loses, then he wins it. What about the NXT title? Did he win it? Did Braun Breaker win the NXT title in his first attempt? Yeah, so he did defeat Ciampa. Okay, so I don't know. I'm just saying this, man. I was just going to say maybe there's a pattern there for him and they see something in the booking that works for Braun, but Dave said it before, he's going to be a star either way, and they're talking about this is a huge Raw, this is a monumental case. So you have Punk win and hold your world title up on Raw on Netflix for the year anniversary on Netflix. And like he's a guy that is like been doing more acting gigs and stuff, and I'm sure Netflix is looking at that as well. And it's just Punk is Punk, and then you're showing Braun. I would have had Breaker win if I was booking it. But is this the worst thing ever? I don't know, man. Punk just got that world title, and it's like, let's get a lengthy reign out of it while Seth is gone and before Punk's gone. Now, does it hurt Punk if he lost the match? No. Would it have hurt Braun? Did it hurt Braun that he lost the match? No. Does it help Punk that he won the match? Not really. Would it have helped Braun even more if he won the match? Yes. But I'm just, this wasn't egregious. And Bryan's like, well, let's stop doing that because Vince is gone. But I don't know, man. People pretend, like, I know that Vince was like falling off at the end, but you can still cherry pick things that he did brilliantly. He was also the guy who made WWE what it is and made all of these fucking ginormous superstars up until recently. Roman Reigns, he gets full credit for that. He gets full, and Vince McMahon even knew to bring Cody Rhodes in as just the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes. He knew to do that even. He was smart enough to do that. It's not all hits. He had way more misses at the end. Definitely WWE. He was spread too thin. He was old. WWE was just feeling stale. 100%. But we can't just disregard the fucking how many 50 years, 40 years, whatever fuck it was, of Vince knocking it out of the park more than not. more of the time than not, and giving people the reason that the reason WWE is even becoming, and pro wrestling is even becoming popular again, is because of WWE and shit. And guys like Nick Khan for sure, but just Vince, everyone's childhood memories is WWE, point blank. So some people like WCW, I get it. But even WCW's peak, it peaked for, it was a chunk of time. It was like 6 years, that Nitro, where they turned it all around and they were kicking their ass. And that's the closest we ever got. That's the closest we'll ever get again. Because AEW didn't even come as close. They were like beating NXT, okay? And not beating Raw or anything like that. And so yeah. And TNA, I don't think, was beating WWE at any point, or like had them on their back foot worrying. So at the end of the day here, what I'm bringing it to is that I'm not super disappointed by any of this. I don't think it's going to hurt them. Netflix just dropped like a Raw recap show. They just got all of WWE's past content. So for everyone being like, oh, Netflix is worried and blah, 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 and for everyone discrediting like some things that Vince did well, you're wrong on both those fronts. Okay? That's what I'm getting at here.
Vince wasn't as much like this.
Vince wasn't as much like this. Like, yeah, man, he kind of was, though. He was like the king of 50-50 booking.
It's the modern fans. It's like, you deserve it. The way to deserve it is that you do your jobs on the way up. And
wait, what is he even saying? Now he's blaming the fans. It's like the modern fans, you deserve it. And we have a bunch of Dave babbling nonsense on this show. He's losing his mind. You guys will see later in the show.
Modern fans, it's like, you deserve it. The way to deserve it is that you do your job.
So hold on, we have to go back. I'm sorry, guys, but what is he even saying? It's like the modern fans. It's like, oh, you deserve it, but to deserve it,
Vince wasn't as much like this. This is the modern. It's the modern fans. It's like, you deserve it. The way to deserve it is that you do your jobs on the way up, and you deserve it because you played the game.
Stupid.
So.
Like, if you're gonna do that, that's fine for like a baby face.
It's stupid. And then he goes on to explain how it's fine. Then it's not stupid, because you're explaining how it's fine, Brian. And it clearly works. And Dave is like, oh, it's this you deserve it thing. Like, what does that even mean? When people deserve it, they deserve it. I don't I don't know. Did Jade Cargill not deserve it? I think she takes the wrestling. It's like, yeah, she's not that good in the ring, but they didn't do this with her. It's just different strokes for different folks. And Braun Breaker is a guy who is literally, in my opinion, going to be the Roman Reigns. He's going to be the guy of the next era that we look at, who has like a fucking 4-year title, maybe not that long, but he'll have like one of these 2-year-long title runs. Everyone accepts him. He's like the face of the company. I truly think that if we're looking at the landscape of WWE for the next decade, who's going to be like the main guy? Let's say Rhodes in the next 5 years, Punk retires, Rhodes retires, Orton's gone. Who's like the face that they push is like, here's our next Roman Reigns, here's the next big superstar, like mainstream type guy? It's Braun Breaker in my mind. That's who I'm picking. So I don't know, man. Again, this is cope over. They just want to see Breaker win the title, but then if Breaker wins the title, Dave's just going to invent ways to shit on Breaker having the title.
But like, for a heel, who cares if they boo the guy because they think he didn't deserve it? He's a heel. Yeah. And it's Braun Breaker. He doesn't need to do it.
No, they don't boo anyone. So again, Brian just trying here. They always do this shit where they add all this extra.
Brian.
So Dave's just adding this, oh, you deserve it thing. And then Brian's like, who cares if they boo him because he doesn't deserve it? No, Dave wasn't even saying they boo them because they don't deserve it. And no one doesn't think Braun doesn't deserve it right now. But we can also understand that he doesn't even need the title quite yet. Quite yet. He doesn't need it. I think what they're building to, by the way, is Braun is going to break off from Reed, Paul, Theory in them. And that's what I think. Because the people like to bark for Braun. Ho, 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 ho. I think they're slowly setting up. He's going to separate from them, then win the title on his own without Heyman. And then he can cut promos like, when you were in my corner, I didn't need you. You know, like it wasn't until I left you by the wayside, Paul, and the vision that I won this title. I think that's what they're building to. I'm Fantasy Mark booking that. Phil S. Mark's booking that. But yeah, Breaker has tremendous heat, and I just don't know why Alvarez added the booing aspect in there.
Job before he wins the title. It's dumb.
They probably will.
He has to do a job before he wins the title. That's dumb. Why is it dumb? You didn't really explain why it's dumb. Why should make a better compelling argument about why Braun should have the title right now? Who's better for ratings? Let's just be honest. Who got more eyeballs on him? Who's going to snap? Who can tell the story? No, I'm doing this on my own. And then they can tell a story where he ditches everyone and then he becomes champ or whatever. And then he has a faction of fucking Theory, Logan Paul, Reed to run through and shit like that. I don't know, dude. I just think it didn't need to be on the Stranger Things Raw where fucking Breaker wins, buddy. It could just be on like a PLE where there's way more people watching. And I think that is more what you need to look at. This is a weekly TV show. This isn't fucking predictable ass AEW. Like, people did not know who was even going to win the world title. On AEW, they just do title eliminators so that people don't have to drop their belts, and they just don't switch their world titles on the fucking show. Like, ever. That's why it's so predictable. So, I don't know, man. These guys are just sour because it's Punk and making shit up. So Dave and Bryan get triggered, and we're going to circle back to the Ethan Page stuff, but Dave and Bryan get triggered again over WWE Unreal Season 2. Let's hear their shit. And remember, guys, Dave didn't even watch the first season. He didn't even watch the first season. Stupid idiot. He just said he watched some of it, and then he just had all these wild takes about how fucking phony or whatever it was, and it's just like, bro, you didn't watch it. Shut the fuck up. You know you didn't study and learn.
Meltzer Inferno.
Then we had this clip from the new season of WWE Unreal. They're trying to convince you that Seth fooled everyone with his knee injury.
Well, that's the whole. But yeah.
They did fool everyone. Look at Elbu tried this too. No serious person was fooled. We roasted him on PWT Live Show. Elbu tried this. No serious person was fooled. Meanwhile, he was tweeting out, I feel so bad for Seth, man. Everyone thought it was a fucking work. And this is one of these hindsight things that these dummies do. And at the time, Dave just went, well, it could be a work or it could not be a work, Bryan. That's all he said. We covered it here on PWT/DMDMW. Dave covered it, or talked about, and we covered it, how at the time he's like, it could or it couldn't be. He just did 50-50 Dave logic. It could be a work, it could not be. Right? And I took heat too. I was like, it's a fucking work. And people were telling me it wasn't a work and shit like that, because it was the same knee, and everyone broke down how it's the same knee. And Dave and Bryan are so used to watching simpleton, dumb wrestling, where now that WWE, the way they stay hot and they keep fans talking about them on social media and they get all the eyeballs, is they're just indelibly calculated with the nuances and the Easter eggs and the background and the, okay, we're going to fake an injury. Back in the fucking day, or in AEW, you get dropped on your neck, no injury, guy lands from a fucking body slam, he dislocates his shoulder, no one cares, because they're used to seeing guys fucking land on their heads and nothing matters. In WWE, They were like, okay, a decade ago, Seth fucked this knee up. Let's go back to that knee, same move, same thing, work it, and they fucking they worked everyone with this. Dave and Bryan can't stand being worked, and they're like, they're gonna pretend that they worked people. Hey, stupid dum-dums. This show is for casuals and people who want the curtain pulled back, and even then it's still a work because it's reality TV and it's all a work. This isn't Dark Side of the Ring documentary series fucking, and you guys were worked by it. Okay?
The Sunday night show we did, we knew what was going on.
I had been told by John Pollock.
No. Dave and Bryan were both like, it could be, it could not be. If it is, they're playing it real tight.
Do not go on the air and think that this is.
And who cares if you knew what was going on? Who cares if it did work you? You should get worked. That's why we watch wrestling. So who cares if it fucking worked you? That's what it was supposed to do. That was the point. Jesus fucking Christ. So it's like this whole elitist, and these two cocksuckers have created so many of these elitist, snobby fucking, no, you got worked. It fucking, no, I didn't get work. I knew. These little fucking elbows. Who gives a shit? Shut up.
Real injury, basically. And I trust him. And he also explained, because I was told about it in advance. It's like, look, he's told about it in advance. Then it ain't a real.
And then they're sitting there going, I, me, I, me, I, me, me, I. They think everything is directed at them. They think WWE made this show to try and convince people Dave and Bryan are stupid dum-dums or something. And then them having this conversation just reminds everyone how stupid dum-dummy they are.
Injury. But everyone.
John Pollock told me, John Pollock told me, and I knew, and I swear I knew. And so this Unreal show can't work me. I'm unworkable. I know everything. I'm the all-seeing eye of Horus, Bryan.
I believe it was a real injury. I remember when I first watched it, the way the announcers reacted, I thought, this is an angle. But everyone, was going, it's not an angle, it's not an angle, not an angle. And then, I got called.
Everyone was going, it's not an angle. No, you're just listening to PWT. That's all it is. And you guys are coping over what Phil Mark says. That's all it is. Because I was saying it's fucking, or I was saying it's a work and shit. These guys were going, it could be, it could not be. John Pollock said this. But fucking Bryan is sitting there doing these 50. We covered it here on the show. We laughed at them. How they just said that it could be, it could not be. You guys are fucking coping. I don't know if they're actually listening to PWT.
Then as the days went on.
I'm just talking shit right now, okay?
And I started asking around. It was very clear from everyone that nobody knew, but they were starting to come.
See the shit? Nobody knew. But they were starting to come around to the idea.
That it couldn't have been. And then
he interviewed everyone, top to bottom, Charles Robinson, all the way to Jackie Redmond, all the way to Trips, all the way to fucking Akira Tozawa.
Eventually, again, I found out from people who were just essentially outright telling me, yeah, it's in
that were essentially outright telling me. So, Dave, were they essentially telling you? Meaning that they were beating around the bush, or were they outright telling you? Meaning they were outright telling you, what the fuck? This guy is this how you know he's full of shit? Jesus Christ. And who gives a fuck? It's a fucking show. It's a fucking show to try and get other people into WWE and for WWE fans to watch and get a behind the scenes look. And who cares if they're covering whether or not this guy was injured or not? Who cares if they're covering that they worked people or didn't work people? How do you know in the Unreal show that they don't go, fuck, everyone figured it out? And we don't get a glimpse at that. You guys, they just want to sit here and go, and we were right. We knew before anyone. We knew. Xenu, Illuminati, all-seeing eye of pro wrestling, the observer.
Angle for SummerSlam. So, not a lot of people knew. I mean, I just thought it was so hilarious, the talent that went in there and goes, I had no idea. And it's like, are you in the real world? It's like anyone who paid attention, even if they wanted to believe.
And it's always this, anyone who paid attention. would have known, even if they wanted to believe, why do you watch wrestling? This is how you know Dave is a tard who just wants to see people fight till they collapse and get brain damage. But he's too pussy to watch MMA. He's too pussy and much of a fake fantasy clown to just watch MMA and then admit he just wants to see people get brain damage. That's all it fucking is, man. Oh, they believed in this story they told on this fake show with full of fake stories and characters? Yeah. Yeah, Dave. It's why we watch it. Like, what are you fucking... You're such a dickhead.
They had heard the story that this probably, if you didn't want to know and you don't follow wrestling closely, yes, of course.
Exactly. Who's this reality show for? You, who claims you know everything already and stooge everything? And this is how you know Dave's such a fraud, because he didn't even watch the first season. You would think a guy who absolutely loves, like, people say to me, they go, on PWT Live show, you cover just obscure whatever shit. Like, I heard you talking about this. I would have never heard of that if it wasn't for your show. People have messaged me shit like that. And I just try and cover it all because I like fucking wrestling in general. Okay. I like it. I even from the deathmatch shit all the way up to WWE shit. There's always something to laugh at. There's always something to call out. There's always something to criticize. There's always something to put over. There's always something to fantasy mark book. There's always something from history to go back and go, hey, this is crazy when these two guys started shooting on each other or whatever, right? It's so fun to me. I don't know. I watch all these shows. Even if I give up, like LFG, I don't care anymore. I was so excited. My wife said that the other day. She's like, Phil, you were so excited for the fucking first season of LFG. And now you don't give a fuck about that show. And I'm like, I know. I know. I don't care anymore. But you got to check it all out at least. You got to give it a shot. And so Dave's interest, right, is the behind the scenes, knowing everything, confirming, studying, learning. You would think this would be like, even if he didn't like the show, or even if he tried to debunk some of the shit in the show, which might be cool, he just is like triggered by it and refuses to watch it and sees clips. And he admitted this last time. He just sees clips of it and then just talks about how fucking phony it is and how he knew better, or he knew this already. So why is it in this show for people who aren't dirt sheet mark insiders? He's a fucking clown and he's a phony.
Been fooled.
It's like, this isn't even his interest. His interest is just hearing, just talking to people, looking at clips, and then just like hearing shit and then making stuff up, extrapolating shit that doesn't exist out of like little tidbits of info he might get here or there.
But if you were following wrestling at all, you at least heard that this could be an angle, and maybe just said, I don't believe it and all that, and they're all liars, but you heard it. But the idea that and
listen, I'm not saying people who don't watch MMA is pussies. I'm not saying that. It's that he just won't watch you. He just won't admit he's too pussy to be like, I just want to see guys do crazy moves to each other and really hurt each other. Then just watch MMA. Like you would think you would be like the biggest, you'd be like breaking down fights. You think your focus would be fucking football where guys are just slamming their heads into each other because that's all you want to see. Like, clearly, because anytime it comes to working or the storytelling or anything like that, Dave just dismisses it all. And it's all just in favor of moves. You want to see guys do really damaging real moves, watch UFC, bro. You know what I mean? I don't know what to fucking tell you. Stop doing this bullshit. Just stop being a bullshitter.
Fooled everyone.
It's just cope. Acting like they fooled everyone. Shrug. You don't know. You didn't see the show. What if in the show? Because last season I pwned Dave with this too. Because they were remember season 1. You can go back. Dave Meltzer Dumb Moment of the Week. There's a playlist. You guys can find the clip. Okay, from like a year ago, where, and I broke this down, where Dave and Bryan last time saw the commercial for the I Show Speed thing. And they were like, oh, and they're trying to pitch like that's real in the commercial for this thing. And that was the phoniest thing they ever did, Bryan. And then you watch Unreal and they literally show you how they plan it, and then they just show you the clip of iShow Speed going to the ring. And Dave and Bryan, before the show ever came out, they were convinced that that was part of the show. They were trying to convince us, and this is what they said, that they were trying to convince the audience that the iShow Speed thing was real, and they just last minute put him in as a replacement. Then when the show came out, they clearly show you this is a work, and they showed you this is how we pull something like this off.
Stupid idiot!
Now, before season 2 comes out, Dave and Bryan are going, they're going to sit there and pretend like they worked, everyone.
Learn, baby, learn. Meltzer Inferno.
Maybe watch the fucking show. Maybe watch the fucking show, dude. I'm going to own you again with this one. We'll come back to it. I promise, Dave, I will own him for this one again. These two guys doing the same thing you did last year. Spurging out about the commercial than being wrong about what was in the commercial.
This just in, we have confirmed that Dave Meltzer fears PWT and flutes.
The idea that like they fooled everyone.
And who said that? You're the one just saying that. He's just saying the idea that they fooled everyone.
They did not.
They did not. Who said they did?
Then we had this clip.
It's fake pro wrestling. It's fucking fake pro wrestling, guys. So Tryon Bryan and Dusty Dave, they melt down like I am right now about NXT and Bryan is just fake raging over NXT like he always does. And so here's them talking about Obafemi vacating the title. They also fantasy mark book why and what he's doing and what he's obviously doing on SmackDown and shit. Let's see.
WWE did confirm, although I don't think this needed confirmation, that Obafemi has vacated the NXT title. Oddly enough, what you saw on television actually was what everybody saw in the building.
Yeah, went dark.
Yeah, what they did was he was standing there posing like we saw on TV, and then they turned all the lights off to show the video on the big screen. And then when the video was almost over, they turned the lights on, and the belt is just sitting there in the middle of the ring, and the fans start screaming, and that's when they had what's-his-face rush in and
Robert
tell
Stone.
Yeah, Robert Stone tells Ava, you'll never guess what just happened.
God. Did you see what happened?
Yep.
Of course not. She wasn't watching the main event of the show.
Nobody saw what happened. It was in the dark. So anyway, he's vacated the title, going to the main roster, gonna get a huge push. Obviously, what everyone is expecting is that he's going to interfere.
Sorry, Filthy Tom Lawler. I might have said Dave there at the start.
In the Drew McIntyre match.
So he just said, obviously, what's going to happen
is that he's going to interfere
in a
huge push. Obviously,
what everyone is expecting is he's going to show up in the McIntyre match. I don't know. I wasn't expecting that, but Obafemi on SmackDown, I think, is the move right now while Jacob Fatu's gone. Just because you have Reed and you have Breaker and they're these two destroyer guys. I just don't know if you need a third in Obafemi on that show. I think right now Oba, then Fatu comes back, and then I guess you have the MFTs, but they're not. Even Talatonga hasn't been presented as strong as like Jacob Fatu.
Everyone is expecting is that he's going to interfere in the Drew McIntyre match on SmackDown because they had that Obafemi Cody match and Drew interfered.
Yeah, I could see that happening possibly, but he's like, obviously, what everyone's expecting. It's like, I don't know if everyone's expecting that, man. You're just, this is why your people hate WWE so much. You just spoil it all for them. Spoiler alert, bro. What the fuck are you doing? No. So here's more of Bryan just spurging out on you, the people, the NXT fans, the people.
And of course, it's the usual, interference right in front of the referee. The heel gets the win. And just watch this
right
crowd.
in front of the ref.
This
right
crowd
in front of the ref.
is so deflated.
Oh, this was
Hey, Filthy Tom, shut up, buddy. Unless you were yelling like this, and maybe he was, about the screwdriver shit right in front of the ref recently. And yes, I'm doing a what about AEW because that's what the fuck they do at the Observer. Like, unless you were screaming about the same shit, don't ever talk about in front of the ref. Jesus Christ.
Win. And just watch this
right
crowd.
in front of the ref.
This
right
crowd
in front of the ref.
is so deflated.
Oh, this was like Paul Turner all over again.
Okay, there you go. Paul Turner call out based. Filthy Tom Lawler. Dude, I'm telling you, I like this Tom Lawler cat. I've been saying it for a while now. Paul Turner, right? That's the fucking Paul Turner AEW. Yeah, he's the okay, good. Based Filthy Tom Lawler.
Crowd is so sad. And
why did the ref should
You completely pwned Phil Marks right there. That was awesome.
check the ropes to see if they were wet.
I swear to God, I wrote in my notes here, these Mark NXT fans.
He's doing. I like because Filthy's doing the fucking faux outrage right to Bryan, belting him right in front of him.
Will never learn. You guys aren't gonna get a happy ending. Will you stop hoping? Like, they still have hope because I think they've been here for a long.
It's not a happy ending, Bryan. That's what you and Dave do Fridays before or after your show, depending on how sauna time went. But it's not a happy ending. There's no ending unless it's like the end of a career or whatever. But this isn't the ending to anything, right? In pro wrestling, we've covered this. It's like comic books. It's just one timeline. You do get happy endings all the time in stories in pro wrestling. This isn't the ending to their tale. You know what I mean?
Long time back when it was good, but like, it ain't good anymore, guys. There's no hope for your favorites. You know what this is? This is back to 2018 WWE.
Yeah, chat's pointing out too, like, did Bryan Alvarez say Mark? I thought Mark is the N-word, according to Dave Meltzer.
WF with Vince McMahon. The only thing they know right now is heat.
Canceled. Cancel him.
We've got to get heat. Heat. If there's something you like, you're going to...
Yeah, right. This is the same tard talking about Cena. We need heat. But Cena loses. Yeah, that's called getting heat, Bryan. You can't have it both ways. You can't have this criticism and say, we need heat, and then cry when they do things to really heat people up.
Get it for like 3 weeks, and we're going to take it away from you for heat.
Bryan, let me tell you about heat.
Yeah.
You know what heat is?
Or is he saying you don't need heat? He's saying that's what WWE wants. Yeah. Yes. That's what's missing in pro wrestling is heat.
It's when something's hot. You know what would have been really hot? If Kendall Gray won that damn woman's
No, it wouldn't have been, because then she'd just be a 2 title holder. Like, you fucking sickos. That's all you want are these fucking 2 title holders and shit. Not you, Tom Lawler. You're based, but he's just clearly trolling Bryan here. But no, it wouldn't have been hot. Okay, Dave and Bryan have this narrative of like, we're going to push Kendall Gray. She's just a superstar, and she is. But she needs to denounce these clowns, dude.
title in front of the crowd.
You're right.
That would have been hot.
No.
She would have been heated up through the freaking atmosphere.
Nope. Now you're a...
Dude, I love Tom Lawler's straight fucking trolling Bryan here, and I'm so for it. Oh my God, dude. I fucking love this. And Tom Lawler, shout him out. Been a fan of his since the Ultimate Fighter days.
Mark. Don't even tell me you actually thought that was going to happen.
Somebody
Come
get
on.
Somebody get that clip of Raven. What a mark.
Oh man, I love how he felted Bryan with his own shit, and Bryan's sitting there like, and Bryan can't do his faux outrage, raging about it because Tom Lawler's just stealing it from him, dude. I love that so much. More of that, please, in 26. Moving along here. So I think we have another clip from Trying Bryan on the NXT stuff. And if we don't, we will move into... Yeah, so we have this clip here that pertains to Javon Evans. And so Bryan talks about Javon Evans here.
They announced
and how NXT named him Male Superstar of the Year. And then he gets called up and signs with Raw. And now let's hear how Bryan copes over this.
They announced the Male Superstar of the Year.
You think Bryan would be happy, too, because he fucking has been crying about Javon getting called up and becoming a world champion in Luthez and shit. So let's take a listen.
And the winner of this frickin' award is Javon Evans. You guys are so incompetent. You're the only company that doesn't understand what you have with Javon. AAA gets it. The main WWE on the main roster, they get it. You guys are morons. But even the fans chose Javon over all of these other guys. He wins a Superstar of the Year. And what do you do in the main event of the show where he won Superstar of the Year? He gets beaten by Ricky Saints. I was like, of course he did.
Oh, Bryan. He wins a bunch, and he's still named Superstar of the Year. And the losses don't matter. You just said it. It just doesn't matter when it comes to him. He's beloved. Now he's on the main roster. Ricky Saints isn't. So Ricky Saints is going to beat him. Ricky Saints also recently lost, dude. Bry is just, this is faux outrage, man.
Can we get this guy off the show? I'm begging. I like, what do you want from me? Just get this guy off this show forever and just move him somewhere where he will be appreciated and pushed for his talent. God.
Evolve?
Like everybody that gets...
He's in every... Javon Evans is literally in every PLE, no title. Whether he's fighting for a title or not. TNA, NXT. He's the attraction on NXT every fucking show. Weekly show. Every PLE they do. But unfortunately on the main roster, it's harder for guys who, with his style, to go out there and become beloved the way the NXT fans embrace guys like Javon Evans. When it comes to like you're like, he's tall and has size, but he like flies around and shit. There's a bunch of that in WWE on the main roster already. And that NXT fan base, like, they are NXT sickos, dude. They are there every fucking show. And then Javon's still used, whether it's a title match or not. He's so over and he's so beloved. Win or lose, like you just said. Title match, no title match. PLE, regular show. NXT on Tuesday. He's on every single show holding it down. You don't need... He's bigger. This is the... It's like a problem in a way where he's so good he doesn't... I've said this about Drew. He's so good he doesn't need the belt. And that's a good thing. But it also can be a bad thing for you, you know? But it can also be a good thing. Look at Piper. He was able to do movies and shit because he didn't have the fucking belt. And he was over like Rover, dude. And he had heat when he had heat. So with Javon, dude, it's just they want the next 15 years of Javon Evans. And he's already so beloved. Now we're going to see if it translates to the main roster. And the problem with what Tom Lawler, shout him out, and what Bryan Alvarez are saying right now is that not everyone who goes to the main roster works. Now, Javon he's getting reactions. Obafemi gets reactions. There are people on the main roster or in NXT who come up like Joe Hendry. They get reactions. There's a bunch of people like Roxanne Perez, who I think is one of the solidest fucking hands in all of WWE. I think she is. I think she's a solid all-around pro wrestler. She can talk. She has a look. She can work. She can work babyface. She can work heel. I think she's all around a solid fucking hand, but she didn't get... Lyra Valkyria, same thing. But just zero reactions at first. You got to make them care. So again, this is like reset mode, Bryan. This isn't the whole world. You're taking a crumb and calling it a cookie. You cannot do that. Okay. Anyways, moving along.
Javon is like, oh my God, let's do something with this guy. Except NXT, which had him for the last 2 years and didn't do
He
jack.
should hold gold. Like, I hope there's a day where he's a world champion. I'm not saying he shouldn't hold titles. He should be decorated, and he probably will be on the main roster. Even Fingershay got the U.S. title. You know what I'm saying? But it's like, let go when NXT, let go of that, Bri. Don't get too attached. Is it working? Okay, then it's working. Relax, because we know, because nobody else is outraged by this. And it's kicking AEW's ass. In the same week, AEW is doing 300,000 viewers. NXT's doing fucking 600,000. They're doing better than the week before. So I would just not even worry about this. Try and enjoy it. He's going into it intentionally just trying to hate. And that's you're never going to have a fair and balanced criticism when you do that. That's why my AEW criticisms cook, dude.
With the guy. God.
And that's why my WWE criticisms cook too, even if people disagree with them.
I hope this guy goes in the Hall of Fame someday and like does a Hall of Fame speech and doesn't mention NXT.
Yeah, why? Why would he do that? He's only as over as he is because of NXT. Dude, you need to lay off whatever sleeping medication you take. I'm just joking. You just look real tired, dog. You just look real tired.
I wouldn't. I would ignore that I was ever there.
Why would you ignore you were ever there? Gave us so many great moments that fucking even AEW copied with the whole gorilla press into the announce table. Tremendous matches, tremendous TNA crossover. Leon Slater helped give. Not only did was Javon on the come up, but he literally gave the rub to Slater.
They announced the male.
Javon, this is how over Javon is and how much of a dummy Bryan is.
Yeah.
Javon's already giving the rub to guys like Slater. I mean, what more do you have to say? Not only did he leave on good, but he gave the rub to Slater, buddy. He's like light years ahead of the game, Javon is. And Bryan's just diminishing it and just going, well, now that he's called up, instead of me being like, yes, yeah, that's awesome. Let's put it over as a good thing. NXT shit and never mention NXT again. Because that was bullshit, right? But meanwhile, wrestlers jump from a Fed to from AEW to WWE. He shits on it. Wrestlers Javon goes to the main roster. He's still crying about it. Instead of putting it over and making a joke like Phil would do it and being like, oh, it's they're listening to me. You know what I'm saying? Just spin it. Have fun with it, Bryan. You miserable bitch. Okay. So we have one last WWE focus thing, and then we have to get into a whole mess of other ish, day one ish. So Ethan Page, ego, just the ego, dude. Ego. All right. Ego is becoming a star. We all saw it. We all saw it in TNA. We're talking a decade ago. Motherfuckers saw it in maybe not that long, but in TNA, people saw it. When he went to AEW, everyone was like, fuck yeah, he could be something. And AEW was cooking around the time he came in too, still. You could argue they were still doing their thing, man. And everyone, I was a full-blown sicko. And everybody's like, Ethan Page, even WWE fans were like, oh yeah, that guy could be something. Got to keep eyes on that guy. Everyone saw it. So here's what Dave Meltzer in 2026 has to say about all ego Ethan Page. And then we're going to read what Dave Meltzer had to say in 2022 about all ego Ethan Page.
If someone deserves to be called up from NXT, it's that freaking Ethan Page.
That guy is
Oh, really?
awesome.
Yeah, no, he's been great.
He's one of those guys that can have a great match with like anybody. You could put him in there with anybody.
So Tony Khan is a bad booker for not booking him.
The best guy is Tony Khan.
correctly. Isn't that what Dave would say? Oh, well, how could Triple H be Booker of the Year? The biggest angle of the year, Cena. There was one bad part in it this year that people thought was bad, and only some people thought was bad. There's no way he could be Booker of the Year. Meanwhile, where's the hindsight of like, yeah, and this is when, by the way, Tone fumbled ego when he was winning Booker of the Year awards. Think about that too. It just shows you on so many levels how Dave is a fucking
Learn,
dumbass.
baby,
Okay?
learn. Meltzer
Not the match, it's the
Inferno.
way he carries himself.
Not the match. No, his matches aren't good. It's the way he carries himself. It's not that listen to Dave. No, it's not even his match that's good. It's just the way he carries himself. And so it has nothing to do with the wrestling. The wrestling fans don't care at all. It's just he carries himself a certain way and his matches aren't good. Is that what you're saying, Dave?
Match with like anybody. You could put him in there with anybody.
It's not the match, it's the way he carries himself.
Well, that too, but I mean, he's so great.
Match, Dave. It's the match he had with Mr. Iguana. It's the match he had with Dr. Wagner Jr. It's the matches he's having with Chelsea Green. And it is the way he carries himself as well. It's the total package. Just because he doesn't fucking reverse tombstone plancha people through tables on barbed wire on the outside doesn't mean that it's not the match, buddy.
Yeah, I mean, he just comes across. The thing is with him is he can just talk. He's a great, and in WWE, that's the battle. You know, I mean, Rollins said it. You know,
That's the battle in WWE. There's nothing else, just talking. And meanwhile, WWE's the top shit. So maybe the fucking sickos you stand should, or I guess some of these wrestlers are sickos. Yeah, so I'll call them sicko. I guess the fucking wrestlers you sicko stan is what I meant to say should fucking learn how to cut promos. I don't know. And here's the other thing. Listen to what Dave's saying here. He just comes across as a star. Yeah, we've all seen this. What Dave is saying now, and I point this out all the time, I point it out like Ethan Page points to his cheek, that to his twisted grin, that Dave always catches on. Dave and Bryan always like say shit that everyone said 4 years ago, and then they act like it's an epiphany, like they're just fucking like, oh, they're the first ones uncovering this shit. And he's like, oh, he carries himself like a star and blah, blah, blah. So now listen to how we're going to go and look out in 2022. Dave said the opposite. And the reason it matters, it's not because his mind was changed, because Dave would never admit that. He's always right about everything. But at the time, he condescends one of his fucking message board sleuths and fucking, I don't even think sleuth is the right word there. One of his message board sickos, and fucking talks about how even if Ego went to NXT and shit, he wouldn't be a star. So
you got to be able to talk to be a top guy in WWE, and he can wrestle, and you know he's good. He's good. He's not the best in the world, but he's pretty good.
That's CM Punk. That's CM Punk, Bryan, or MJF, because he's better than you.
But my God, he's a very good talker, and he carries himself.
Except my God, he can talk, and he's such a star.
Like a star. I mean,
he's got size. He's a big dude.
He's got enough size.
He's not like Obafemi, but like he's not a small guy.
Yeah. No, he's you know, he reminds me of his like LA Knight in a lot of ways, in the sense that at first when you see him and think about it, it's like he's not really a WWE star, but he just
but everybody thought he could be a WWE star, bro. The North, Ethan Page and Alexander, either them as a tag team or them as individuals. Everybody collectively was like they would do good shit in WWE.
In there, and he actually is.
And see, Dave is like, nobody thought this, but he actually is, and I'm telling you this now, bro. No, you are the reason why. Only Redax, your bubble of Redax, would say he couldn't be a star because you told them that. And we're going to go.
He doesn't have that standout look. Oh, I mean, LA Knight had the good body, but he was kind of, a little bit on the short side.
Ego has a great look.
But they just, I mean, like, LA Knight just got over, and Ethan Page, in another way,
and LA Knight just got over. He just diminishes everyone. He's such a piece of shit. LA Knight just got over. It had nothing to do with. Now, provided LA Knight's not the greatest wrestler of all time as far as like the physical in-ring Io Sky type, you want to see backflips and shit. but he's a fucking solid hand, and he has a tremendous look, and he can cut a promo. And he's got great charisma, which does take you far in wrestling in general. This is why in NWA he was cool. This is why in TNA people took to him, Eli Drake. This is why in WWE he's doing well. He would have did well, maybe not in AEW, because like you can't gauge what does well in AEW. Because even guys who do all the flips, like, are they doing well? Fucking Ospreay's not even wrestling. I don't even think he won the world title, and he ain't even fucking wrestling. He might not even fucking wrestle, you know? And he's like, yeah, I will be back, bruv. They don't know, though. After you do these operations and recover and you get back and you start taking bumps, he might not ever be able to wrestle like Adam Cole. We don't fucking know. And it's like, I don't know if in AEW you can even really gauge what gets you over, even if you're a flippy guy, you know?
Well, and I got over as a face, but Ethan Page, you know, he can be a face, he can be a heel, but he better be a heel for a while. And he should be on the main roster ASAP because, you know, because he's really that good. Yeah.
He's really that good that he could be a WWE full-fledged superstar, comparing him to LA Knight.
If someone
and saying he could be bigger than LA Knight because he could be a heel and a babyface. So let's take a look at what Dave Meltzer had to say about all ego Ethan Page in 2022 on his message board. So this guy is talking, Grandpa Dez on Dave's message board is talking about Ethan Page, and he says he does have incredible charisma, in my opinion. So the topic is charisma. What did Dave just put Ethan Page over for? In my opinion, he just hasn't had a chance to show it, and he's far better. So he's criticizing AEW there, saying he hasn't had a chance to show it in AEW. And he's far, and this goes to show you too, because Ethan Page did get promo time and shit, but it's also what the booker books you in. It is what you can do with what you're booked in. Of course, a lot of that falls on the wrestler, and making the best of what you got. And Ethan Page was making the best of what he got. And that's why fans were saying he deserved better. What does the better mean? The booking. This was back when Tony was winning Booker of the Year awards, guys. This is incredible. This is an incredible find by your boy Phil. So, and he's far better in the ring than he's given credit for, and I much prefer his matches to Phoenix or Bandito. Pac is definitely better in the ring, but Page has him on promos and charisma. I do think that Page is far better suited for WWE, though. This is what Dave responded and said. If he had incredible charisma, we'd know it.
Shut up, bitch!
Pondeem, gotcha. Oh man. And then so Dave back then, this is why this is a pwn. It's not like, oh, he actually is good and I was wrong. Dave didn't say that. It's nothing like that. In 2022, Dave is predicting the future, being the all-seeing eye of Horus of pro wrestling, and is pretending and attempting to predict the future here. Okay? And he's telling this guy, if he had charisma, we'd have already seen it. Really, Dave? Now listen to what else he says. You can't hide charisma. Well, apparently he hid it from you, stupid. I've been watching him since 2015 regularly. Yeah, so a decade. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, because he would have been in TNA, what, like 2016 and shit? So he's good at everything and stands out at nothing. He's fine. Oh my God, Dave, we're owning you so fucking hard, bro. This is why you get dumbass food, dude. I doubt he'd get anywhere in WWE. Oh man. So see, back then he's saying even in WWE, I doubt he'd even go anywhere. And if he had charisma, we'd have known it already. See how Dave's condescending and trying to be like, nope. I don't see it, so it just isn't there, and it won't be there in the future. That's literally what he's saying. On the current roster, Drew Gulak beats him in wrestling. Gulak beats him in talking. Oh my God. And look where Gulak is. Not that Drew Gulak was given opportunity to fucking talk and have a gimmick and do something and make it his own. And not that he wasn't given an opportunity to sink his teeth into something better and become a focal point of a show and shit like that. And he was booked better to Dave It's just because Ethan Page ain't got it. And Tony, it has nothing to do with Tony's bad booking of him. Proof that WWE booked Ethan Page better. Like, it's just proof right there. And meanwhile, Dave is sitting here fucking back in 2022 saying, nope, he never had it. He doesn't have it now, and he never will have it. The worst there was, the worst there is, and the worst there ever will be, bud. And then now you have Dave going, oh, this guy's a frickin' star. He should be. And then now fast forward 26, right? And if Dave was like, yeah, in the past, he I thought he was going to be the shits, but now look at this.
But he better be a heel for a while, and he should be on the main roster ASAP because he's really that good. Yeah.
Oh, man. Pondeem. He got pwned. He got pwned. Sad Meltzer flutes in the chat. That's a good one. Okay, so let me check in with chat here really quick. And then we will get into Dave arguing with LoPiccolo, talking about Nuge and AEW and CMLL. Mo Moon has been a member for 10 months. Thank you very much for
Sometimes
your
in life,
membership.
you gotta be a hoe.
And Chris McCarty for 2 says they said Tony wanted Josh Alexander. Now look. Yeah, well, exactly. And Josh Alexander, I agree with the notion that I don't think in WWE he'd be like a mid-lower guy, kind of like he is in AEW, but in AEW he just loses all the time. He went from like being a guy that people say was having some of the best matches in all of pro wrestling to now he's just a guy that is going to lose, and he's called Job Alexander now. And it's kind of sad and shitty. He would have done better. I mean, I'm over the fucking I'm an amateur wrestling Olympian guy. I just think that doesn't really work. We saw with Tasha May Steele or whatever from LFG, she came in hot, and you got to go back to the drawing board. People don't care about that shit. There's so many Chad Gable, the Creeds, and like I'm not saying don't ever do it, but we need more than that. Tavion Heights, that's his gimmick. Like there's so many people who are like, I'm the amateur wrestling background guy. It's like hearing someone's a football player in pro wrestling. I don't give a fuck. I know. You know what I mean? That means nothing. Back in the day, you would go, oh, he played football. Wow, he's going to, like, if you were in the NFL or something, sweet. But it's just like, oh, well, this guy played football in college, and we're going to talk about that and how that makes him tough. It's like, everyone's tough. You know, be a character. Anyways. So, guys, let's get into the next portion here of the show. Dave Meltzer talks about AEW. And in this clip, Dave gets exposed and he gets pwned by Bryan Alvarez, who tells him he's on Twitter entirely too much. There's an alliteration. But also Dave talking about things he knows when it pertains to AEW, and of course he does because he texts Tone.
By match 1 hour into the show.
And this is from Meltzer Said What? Shout him out. He recorded this incredibly quiet, though.
That doesn't make sense because the standby matches because
The main event ended early, and you've got TV time left.
Right.
Instead, we have a standby match and then an overrun.
Exactly. The main event didn't end early anyway. Yeah. I mean, they just wanted to give Brody King a win, but I don't know why you called a stand.
Then just say there's a Brody King match on the show.
I agree.
Why do you have to call it I think it was done just to, piss me off one more time before the year ended. A freaking standby match in the middle of the show, and then an overrun. God.
So they had the standby match that they aired in the middle of the show. So they're like, we have a standby match, and then they put it in the middle of the show and not during the overrun. Booker of the fucking year. And this is Dave.
Best guys, Tony Khan.
Trying to convince people that Tony Khan should be the best booker of this year because the biggest angle with John Cena, the biggest storyline of the year, one aspect of it, some people didn't like the heel turn. Meanwhile, it was the biggest shit in all of pro wrestling that year. Dave is such a fraudulent fucking clown.
It just, well, the overrun's the overrun, and it was good. But
Well, the overrun's the overrun, and it was good. Dave, there's got to be logic. This is why it's not sports-based. Tony thinks he's doing like a sports-based thing, a standby match. And then he just doesn't even actually know what this means. And then you have fucking Redax who will go on Twitter and go, yeah, AEW is the home of real wrestling. And then now they're going to go and think that standby matches are matches that just happen in the middle of shows. And the overrun is the overrun. You know Tone's just going to do an overrun, Bryan. Just get it in your head. He's always doing an overrun. And why is an overrun a cool thing? Because Tone grew up reading The Observer, where whenever the rare time WWE would do an overrun, Dave would mark out, an overrun. They even did an overrun for this angle. It was crazy. And it's what would be on the fucking message boards.
Oh my God, it's the greatest thing I've ever seen.
So Tone thinks that that's like a thing you do that'll get fans want to see overruns. No, you're just marks who were on the internet too much while your nanny gave you a fucking pedicure and you were drinking orange juice, freshly squeezed juice that some fucking one of your housekeepers picked from a fucking tree in your backyard and fucking, you know what I mean? And then remove the pulp for you before serving it to you, dude. Fucking, you were reading NoDQ.com and people were marking out about overruns. That's where this shit stems from, and that's what the show's here to expose.
It should never be an overrun if you need a standby match.
Well, they should have never
The
called
standby match is at the end of the show, and it's TV time remaining.
I know.
Not an overrun. TV time remaining.
I agree with you. It should not have been called a standby match. It should have been a match. Brody King wins in 51 seconds.
Yeah, what do you even need to stand? Just say Brody's got a match.
Yeah.
Dude, how many matches did they announce as of
And that's the problem too, because Tony always does this. Whenever there's going to be a squash match, he promises there's a standby match, and then they always get to it because there's a squash match. And he's fallen into the routine of doing this every now and then because they don't do squash matches really in AEW, even though there should be more of them. And WWE could benefit from them too, but they're in a spot where everybody's such a big star that, like, realistically, it's like, again, the Lakers come to town. Like, you just give them the in-between shit and then have your wrestlers wrestle. And unfortunately, that's why 50-50 situations happen more. In AEW, it's like you have this vast roster and you have a bunch of people just nipping at the bud to fucking get squashed or for the 3 minutes in the ring. You have 1 million people backstage every show, I guess, who want that 3 minutes tone. So it's like, yeah, this whole standby match thing is stupid, and it's a giveaway. Tony treats his audience like stupid idiots.
I didn't even know about the, let's see, what do we have here? What did I have this afternoon? This afternoon we had, this is as of 3 Eastern. Okay. As of 3 Eastern today. Actually, I erased it. But anyway,
I knew the whole card except for the.
Well, yeah, because you're on Twitter all the time.
I knew the whole card because Tony's texting you, Dave. Stop bragging about that.
At noon today.
I was in the freaking hospital. I wasn't on Twitter.
Well, dude, I had 3 matches in MJF promo. By the time I finished Observer,
I was in the freaking hospital. I wasn't on Twitter. Well, then what were you on? Then how'd you know all the matches? Because Tone texted you. So again, he gets defensive. In his defensiveness, he fucking tells you that he fucking texts Tone.
The best guys, Tony Khan.
This is great.
Live at 4 Eastern. Yeah. So if you knew more than that, I don't know where you got.
Which we already know. He calls him on the phone, but it's like Tone called him, obviously.
Yeah, because that's what they had announced as of this afternoon. So anyway.
That's what it is. Tone just tells him all the matches. And I bet before Tony gets on those videos, he texts, I bet he writes the cards out and then DMs it to Dave. Here's what I'm planning. And then he'll do those little hotel videos.
And to buy a match, 1 hour.
It's just so cringy, man. It's so fucking cringy. So here's what Dave has to say. And he does criticize these SI awards because Meltzer's been felting SI for a long time. Okay. He's been not going after, but he's been trashing SI for a long time. And I don't know if there's something there. Maybe Meltzer said, what, we'll dig up something or DM me something juicy in the regard of, you know, did SI diss Dave back in the day, or did they turn him down for a job, or did someone there think he was a joke in the past? I'm curious because he has sort of a vendetta against SI. But Dave is always a salty bitch towards any other sheet or people with sources who don't sweep for him as well as whatever. It's not, you don't even have to like agree with his wrestling takes, but you have to agree with like Dave. You have to kind of sweep for him or else he kind of shits on you. And also, like, I think he's getting jealous that, you know, John Alba's Tone's new bae. Do you know what I'm saying, man? He's got some fucking emotional damage.
Emotional damage.
Because John Alba's Tony Khan's new bae. So let's listen to him sort of diminish the SI awards and in turn diminishing AEW a little bit here.
They went totally out of the box on those Sports Illustrated awards, but I mean, they hit those hard on every show, and Tony put it over and everything like that. And I think, you know, that's like one of the things that you should do is brag about what you're doing better. You know what I mean? We were named Promotion of the Year. You know, we got 10 awards and all this. I mean, you know, go in there and try to go like, hey, you know, like, independently, people are saying that we're great. They're not saying that we're losers and we suck.
It's funny though, like Dave is going to be sour about this, but if you call out, so he's shitting on these SI awards, but then when Raj Giri does a poll to his Twitter to see what's the best promotion and 4% votes CMLL, and then he's fucking mad at that. And then when people give the same energy towards his bullshit awards, nope, we're the best awards, Brian. These are objective. I'm the end all be all. I'm Uatu the Watcher, Brian. The best guy.
And that's the message that you really want to get across. I think that's one of the things. And you know, the other is just, you know, their guys do media. But, you know, I mean, they're not getting on the level of shows that the WWE guys are, even though, you know, like with Max, I mean, he was in Happy Gilmore, you know what I mean? He is doing,
and now he's just calling MJF Max
some stuff. But those kind of guys, Mercedes kind of,
not like AEW could have promoted Happy Gilmore very much though.
I know. No. And that's not, you know, the only example there, but yeah, no, when the guys are doing stuff that, you know what I mean, they don't necessarily promote it that well. They're so
they don't promote well in general. The promotion is shit in general, and it's a wrestling promotion. It's called a wrestling promotion because you're supposed to promote your promotion to people. It's a promotion because you're promoting it to people to sell them tickets. They're not doing that well across the board. Tony Khan is the promoter, booker, writer, creative, owner. He has to tell everybody this all the time. He's the worst promoter. He's the worst booker. It's that simple. Dave just can't say that. He can't do 1 and 1 equals 2. 1 + 1 = 2. He can't do that. He's on some Terrence Howard math. He's on some Terrence Howard time doing some fucking Steiner math.
Concentrated on their wrestling show of producing a wrestling show that they don't always take advantage of things that make their guys look like stars, you know, and things like that, you know, that's like when things like that happen, they should be promoting the hell out of that stuff.
Yeah, and they should be promoting what happened on their show. Your TV show is a commercial for why we should buy the pay-per-view, especially if you're in the pay-per-view business. Your show is, and especially in the age of streaming, and this is why, again, WWE crushes shit. Because now, let's say you see a vignette for some shit you missed on Raw the week before, and they catch you up, and what you saw, you were like, oh, fuck, did that really happen? Now you can just go watch the Raw from before right then, fast forward to the part, and go, oh, shit, that did happen. And then Dave's like, they're manipulating the numbers. No, bitch. No. Okay? They're just fucking people EFAP now. Streaming is all about that. Having it right there, readily available. Go back, watch this show. Oh, I don't like this part. I can just fast forward. That's why I timestamp everything for you guys in all my videos now. Right? And I have been for a long fucking time, but you guys know in all the videos. And after the lives go up, I timestamp them after on the replays. It's because some people are like, I don't care about hearing about TNA news. I just want to hear WWE news or like even in WWE's case on their wrestling show. Oh man, Braun Breaker speared or lost to Punk. And then you're like, what the fuck? He lost? And then you just go right to the Raw before on Netflix. And then you can just fast forward to that part and see it. You know, that's king right now. Dave he doesn't understand this shit. AEW doesn't do a good job of, it's just like they're just uploading meaninglessness content with no evergreen ability. I don't know the word I'm looking for. No like rewatchability or like, here's the things I like, whatever, you know. A lot of people don't watch any of AEW, and they will just buy the pay-per-views as well and throw them on. There are people who do that. And a lot of people do it to essentially just watch and laugh. It's just something to do while you're drinking and you have people over, you know? Something to throw on. It's an event, you know? So that's not the way to promote anything, you know? It's just in a rut right now. And and then they drop advertisements like, hey, where wrestlers work. And it's just cringe. And it's like rehash shit we've seen before. And Dave at least is calling out that AEW does shitty promotion. But the only reason he's doing that is because he's upset that Tony is spending more time promoting SI than promoting Dave and the Observer and shit. And he's jelly of their awards.
They went
jilted lover. He's a jilted ex-lover, dude. And then, so moving along here, John Moxley and Kyle Fletcher scored themselves, drum roll, can you guys guess? A 5-star match. Lex, how did they get 5 stars? Yeah, I don't know either. And Dave will sit there and say, people, we should learn from Misawa and we should fucking blah, blah, blah. And then he'll give 5 stars to people who get dumped on their heads. Because he actually likes that. And he lies to people when he says, we should learn from them. It's just not his body, so he doesn't care. Right? Moving along here. And so here is how Dave covered this egregious right in front of Paul Turner, which shout out Tom Lawler. He just fucking owned Bryan Alvarez by bringing this up. And like, you know, we see that with Okada, the screwdriver right in front of the ref. And then Meltzer said, what goes correction? It took what could have been among the best openers on a pay-per-view of all time to a 4.5-star match. So again, Dave, this is how you know he only values, he doesn't value anything other than the moves they do to people, to each other. Because the only criteria we've ever got is it's based on how the crowds moved. That crowd was dead as shit in Chicago, reminded me of a fucking New Japan crowd. Okay. So what docks points for Dave when the ref fucks up and sees something egregious like this that should have been a DQ and it's like offensive to everyone watching it? That doesn't get any stars removed from his rating? Or it gets a 0.5 star? How could a 4.5-star match ever have a finish like that with that crowd being that quiet? Where were they? Was that on the pay-per-view actually? I don't remember, but yeah, I think it was, right? That was on the pay-per-view when that happened. So either way, dude, Dave just, there's no criteria, and we can deduce just from the way he analyzes this shit, we can pretty much assume it's just based on the moves. And I know he won't admit that, but it's just the goddamn truth. And so let's read this. Takeshita, so this is what Dave said, Takeshita hit a Blue Thunder, but whatever. He says, Okada hit 2 drop kicks, but he wrote dro kicks. 2 dro kicks. Like no editing. He's just with his tongue wagging, typing this shit out. lube in one hand, allegedly, right? This is all made
Allegedly.
up. I'm a character. I'm a cartoon character. Ooh. And draw kicks, but Takeshita did a point. And it's every time we read The Observer, we point out the terrible punctuation and spelling errors. Okada hit 2 drop kicks, but Takeshita did a poison rana and a running knee. It ended when Okada got a screwdriver that was hidden in the corner and hit Takeshita in the head with it. With a few more minutes and a better finish, this could have been among the best openers on a pay-per-view of all time. He doesn't even bring up the ref saw it. And fucking, it was an egregiously bad finish where the ref saw it. It should obviously be a DQ. And then he literally tells people, you have to read The Observer. Did you read? You can read.
Meltzer Inferno.
Trust me, CMLL's the greatest of all time. You can read my shit with spelling errors and where I omit. And this is also lies.
Liar!
This is called lying by omission, Dave. So what you're doing is you're lying to your audience because you're fucking omitting facts and you're omitting things that happen to control a narrative. And he says, well, and this is what he would say. Well, Phil, actually, I talked about with a better finish, right? But you went to the point where for a paragraph long, for pages, you wrote Takeshita hit a blue thunder bomb after a Rainmaker attempt. Takeshita went for the running knee and Okada blocked it and hit a Rainmaker, but Takeshita didn't go down. A second one put him down. Okada did a German suplex. Takeshita did a rolling dropkick. You literally move by move wrote this out. And then you didn't mention how the ref blatantly saw the screwdriver. You're lying to people.
Tell us what
And
you
this
know,
is
you
called
goddamn
grifting.
liar!
And you're doing fake 50% off fire sales. And that's a grift. You're grifting $10 off everyone to fucking lie and omit the truth and parts of the truth to try and control a narrative to pretend that this is the greatest pay-per-view opener of all time. To push the narrative that you're right and what you like is the best shit in wrestling. And you're not an observer. Okay, you observe it from your perspective. You're not fucking, I got you, buddy. I got
Just
you.
in, we have confirmed that Dave Meltzer fears PWT and flutes.
Okay, you're a fucking fraud. So Dave will project this on other people. Frauds, grifters, old podcast grifters. That's what he is. And he's a fraud. Only a fraud would not have mentioned the shit with the ref at the end. Only a fraud would not mention that. That's completely disgusting. That's legitimately disgusting. And I'm appalled. So moving along, Dave Meltzer had to say William Regal's post about neck issues was not triggered by one move and instead came about due to a few things and stuff in general. Cope. This is cope. Anyone saying this is fucking coping. And also that show had 3 fucking scary neck spots that I counted.
You are coping and seething. You just can't accept what you're seeing. Yes, you're coping and seething. The truth it is scalding, and now you are molding and coping so hard. Coping and seething.
So moving along from that, Mercedes Moné versus Willow Nightingale got 4.5 stars. Okay, I guess, right? Dave Meltzer is given, these are the rest of the star ratings from World's End, okay? So Okada Takeshita 4.5, Moxley Fletcher 5, Harwood Cash Wheeler versus Robinson and Gunn 3.25, Nightingale and Harley Cameron versus Monet and Athena 3, Darby Allin versus Gabe Kidd 4.25, The mixed nuts bullshit, 3.75. Statlander versus Hater, 4. Moxley versus Okada, 4.5. Joe versus Strickland versus Page versus MJF, 4.25. Oh my God, man. You guys know what they say.
Poor people don't like AEW.
They're just too high even for WWE. And so moving along here. Let's see. Okay. Yeah. So that is Dave Meltzer covering AEW there. That is Dave Meltzer covering AEW there. Let me check in with chat. And we have a couple more little segments here I got planned. Thomas Moore for 2 says, all hail Uwatu the Watcher. Uwatu the Watcher, Bryan. You know, well, I see everything, but I do not interfere. I shall not interfere, Bryan. Oh, man. Only people chained up in a basement would rate those matches like that. My flute ratings for World's End was more accurate. 3 stars for Mercedes. Is he giving Dave a Blumpkin? Ugh, gross. Okay. Why you got to drag Monet into this, guys? No. So moving along here, Dave Meltzer had a complete fight melty with LoPiccolo. So let's go over that. And not with LoPiccolo because he won't engage, but he is seeing what LoPiccolo's saying, and then he responds to other people pretending he's not responding to LoPiccolo. You know the best guy is Tony Khan. And so Dave argued and just gets owned a bunch here. Aberdeen the Ween. If you have to explain it all the time, maybe you aren't really shit after all, dude. Shout out this guy at Timmy Doesn't Care. So, you know, Julian Weeks, we covered this. He's like, Dave is responsible for most of the negative discourse. He contributes nothing positive to the business. And then Dave says, have educated more people to its legitimate underbelly core than anyone who ever lived. Pushed for drug testing so hard that eventually it happened and the death rate declined. Dave is taking credit for the fucking death rate declining in pro wrestling because he pushed for drug testing. And it's not because once Nancy Grace and all these other mainstream fucking people got a hold of, like, look at what's happening to people who do steroids and shit.
Oh my God,
it's the
greatest thing I've ever seen.
The fucking sicko Mark in his room, in his basement, fucking oiled up watching Lucha and Japan matches, shitting on WCW and WWE. No. Got more people than you'll ever know interested in different styles of wrestling and into actual history. Dude, you couldn't even buy a clue. Now, Julian Weeks is dope, but yeah, he's the kind of guy, like, he'll pop for, like, when $280 billion deal for WWE with the Saudis. It's like, I don't really mark out for shit like that. I don't really care unless it directly affects me. You know, it's like, oh, it's all on Netflix and they gave him 80 billion for it. Awesome. I love it, you know? But otherwise it's like, okay, the show better be banging. Otherwise I'm going to be pissed. Right. And typically they are. When they get all this money, they invest and go, okay, we're going to give you guys WrestlePalooza and shit, right? WWE invests back in, like, we got to put on a big show and all this shit, and we got to get Punk back and da-da-da-da. So if the fucking stage for the Saudi shows I've said this a million times, if they're fucking got holograms of Hulk Hogan and Andre fucking standing next to where the wrestlers come out down the ramp and they have the biggest, greatest Saudi show stage up of all time, and it's stage glow up or whatever the fuck you want to say of all time, to where it's like, holy shit, one of the nicest stages ever. And fucking me as a viewer at home, I'm like, damn, this looks awesome. Like, this is so sweet for me to consume. Okay, then awesome. I'm glad they got all that money and reinvested it into me as a fan for my viewing pleasure and shit. You know, then I care about it. But otherwise it's like, I don't really fucking care. But the point I'm getting is Julian Weeks, though, he's not like I would say that you could criticize him for that. I wouldn't say he's fucking necessarily got bad takes or or couldn't buy a clue, Dave. I think that's you. And especially when you're sitting here taking credit for like declining the death rate. And maybe Dave did promote some of that. I'm not saying he had nothing to do with it, but just being cocky in this year, 2026, bro, it's just not it, Dave. You have to humble yourself and reel yourself back in and maybe change course a little bit. And I think he would start like making shitloads of money again. Honestly, if he fucking just focused on like doing history pods with some of these people instead of beefing with Jim Cornette, you guys were friends, man. Just accept that he knows more about wrestling than you. Tone is the shit. And then do like a history pod where you talk about like, you know, old shit historically that people, you know, Dave could be useful. He's just an idiot. He's a condescending prick. And Dave's so dumb. He's one of these dumb guys that thinks he's smarter than everyone else. Those are the worst dumb guys, man. Those are the worst dumb guys, you know? Some of the smartest people will say, like, I try to be the dumbest person in the room. Like, I don't want to be the one when I'm in a room with other people, right? Like John Cena will say that when it's my time in the ring, I'm going to hold court. This is what I do. You know, when I'm in the room with other people who've done it better than me, I'm going to shut up and listen. I'm going to be the dumbest guy in the room. That's what a lot of fucking of the smartest people you'll meet will tell you. But Dave is never that. Never that. He's fucking Uwatu the Watcher. Uwatu the Meltzer, dude. Anyways. So yeah, fuck you for hating on Julian's chill. So then this guy, Aberdeen the Ween, goes, if you have to explain it all the time, maybe you aren't really shit after all. And then Dave goes, when one of the best who ever did it said this for decades, maybe people shouldn't be so ignorant in the first place. Dave, you said that Ethan Page wouldn't be a star, and now you're saying Ethan Page will be a star on the main roster in WWE. You said... what did we just get him for? You omitted the fact that the referee saw Okada stab a guy with a screwdriver in a match in the head. You just completely omitted it and then gave it 4.5 stars. And then we'll go on Twitter and you had a bunch of spelling errors and say you can read and get all the knowledge. Like, that's fraudulent activity, bro. And you talk about ignorant. That is the most ignorant shit you could do, is literally ignore. I think ignorant, I think it's almost more ignorant to fucking blatantly ignore facts than like ignoring them based off ignorance. It's okay to be ignorant about things, guys, right? It's okay to be like, I'm entirely ignorant to fucking space travel. I don't know shit about it. You know what I mean? I'm not going to go tell a fucking a guy who, I'm not going to go tell a dentist how to fucking clean teeth. You know, I don't know how to I didn't study that. I talk shit, you know? So it's okay to be ignorant to shit. And Dave's one of these guys where he's like such a narcissist. He's like not ignorant to anything. And he truly thinks he would be a top football reporter, Patrick Mahomes. He thinks he analyzes movies good and he has fucking... Meanwhile, his whole basis is... I asked a friend of a friend, my son's friend. My co-host, Gareth, is a quarter Latino, and he doesn't know Bad Bunny, and so whatever. And he's talking to sickos online and sleuthing discords and shit. Sleuthing Fightful discords and shit. Stealing their news and fucking stealing these memos and then posting them as if they're real internal memos and shit. Like, Dave is the biggest fraud and he's just a sociopath. He's in a fucking bubble where it's like a mental illness at this point. You know what I'm saying? And you know, they say like most narcissists will admit like, yeah, I'm a narcissist. Like, they're even able to admit it because they're so narcissistic they can flip it on motherfuckers. That's what they say. Again, I'm not a fucking psychiatrist or psychologist or whatever the fuck. I don't know. I'm not, you know, I'm not one to speak on it, but that's what the fuck they say. And Dave, if you called him a narcissist, he would be like, no, I'm not. So it's like, maybe not that, but it's like sociopathy. I don't know. There's a term. If we got a doctor up in here, they'd be like, well, it's this, you know, because he would be like, no, I'm not. I'm just the observing, all-seeing eye. And people still sweep for Dave. Meanwhile, we pointed out how in 2022, and it's not because his mind was changed. Again, I have to reiterate it. It's not because Ethan Page changed his mind and he admitted that. It's because the reason he gets pwned for that is because he said Page never had it, doesn't have it now, and he never will, not even in NXT or WWE. And then now he's like, wow, this guy's a star. Call him up right away. It's because Dave omits things like the screwdriver spot. It's like some weird fucking sickness where and then you're not allowed to defend that. I don't care. Oh, well, he was right about The Rock. Yeah, he guessed about The Rock and and The Rock wasn't there or whatever the fuck he said. Did he even get that right? What did Dave said? That The Rock wasn't going to be at Mania or whatever? Either way, dude, it doesn't matter. Do we? And then Dave calls other people ignorant. Meanwhile, he's just so ignorant, dude. And then Nick LoPiccolo again posts a clip of Anchorman here. Ron Burgundy, another incredibly fine flute player, another incredibly fine flautist. Okay, which is always good to meet fellow. And the funniest, I laughed so fucking hard. And I DM'd Nick, and I was like, this is savage. This is pure savagery, what you did to him. And I don't think I bookmarked it because it's just so savage. But he was just like, whatever, it doesn't matter. It was just so savage that I was like, bro, it had me rolling. And maybe my sense of humor is morbid. I don't know. But like Dave's dog got sick, and that's why he was in the hospital or whatever. And Dave, I know I roast you and shit. I'm not going to roast a dog. I'm not a fucking sicko. Where, these guys were like, shitting on Larry when he died and stuff. I wouldn't do that. So prayers up for your pooch there, bud. This is just wrestling, right? Your personal shit, not interested. But Nick, when Raj Geary was like, hey, Dave, heard about your dog. Sorry. And then Nick LoPiccolo was posting these clips from Anchorman. And then he posted the fucking when in Anchorman, and it was set up like what popped me so hard is that you couldn't like predict that. It's not like Nick knew that something was going to happen to this dude's dog, but there's that scene in Anchorman where Jack Black's like, fuck it, this is how I get down. And then he kicks the dog off the fucking bridge, dude. And Nick posted that and he's like, whatever, this is how I get down. And I fucking died. I was like, oh my God, dude, this is one of the funniest shits. Like, it's dark humor for sure. But, yeah, he was pulling Anchorman clips. And then, yeah, the dog off the bridge thing was fucking just a fatality, man. I didn't even bookmark it because I was like, Nick is just savage. He goes beast mode, dude, He goes hard in the paint. He went hard at PWT when I had JJ on because he was mad about what JJ was saying about Blake and shit. He deleted it, but he was like, nah, man, do your thing. But like, that's his people. He goes to bat for his people, and he's not going to bat for Dave, but taking the bat to Dave, fucking Negan style from Walking Dead. The way, he's just been hitting him with these fucking ice cold, like he's photoshopping them into images shit. So sorry for the long preamble. Here is their little back and forth here. But Nick LoPiccolo says, do you know who I am? I don't know how to put this, but I'm kind of a big deal. People know me. I'm very important. I have my leather bound books and my apartment smells rich of mahogany. It's so true though. Dave is doing the fucking Ron Burgundy. And then so Dave Meltzer responds to this guy, Luke Ryan, who quote tweets Dave, and Dave has this to say. So let's go. We're going down the rabbit hole here. So Dave is like, there's more injured AEW wrestlers than WWE wrestlers by percentage, a small percentage. And then this guy says, such a weird point. WWE is known for its safe style. Injuries always happen, though. AEW works a more dangerous and exciting style. That's the same as saying most drunk drivers get home safe. So I'm not sure it's any more dangerous than driving sober statistically. That's actually kind of a good analogy, but again, it's like WWE are more long-term invested in talent. Not that, and again, Redax will go, oh, but the long-term contracts, Phil, well, they signed Osprey to 8 years. What I mean is like actually investing in the talent, which then is an investment in themselves, right? They invest way more in talent and shit like that, and they work more. WWE people work more than AEW folks. So AEW having a larger, and there's a way bigger bloated roster in AEW. So they shouldn't have, maybe I'm going to do that. Let's see. Let's ask AI, let's ask Google how many people are on the WWE roster, including Raw, SmackDown, and NXT. So around 200 active main roster is what they're saying, generally active, 200. But again, this is Google. They've been taking L's. Apparently Google AI has been taking like huge L's where people are like, yo, it's 2026. And they're like, no, it's not 2026. It's 2025 still and shit. And people are like, what's going on? How many people are on AEW's roster, including ROH? So about 200, about the same number. So, I mean, yeah, the injuries are about even. There you go. I don't know what to tell you. It's just like, if Dave has the real numbers, he's like, in fact, it's just a little percentile. Post them then. But Dave says, and yet stats for years have said otherwise. I chart this stuff regularly. Neither is safer than the other in any meaningful way that can be measured. This is with years of studying. Oh my God, listen to this, and I study it. This is with years of studying. I study. Study.
Learn, baby, learn. Meltzer Inferno.
So the problem, Dave, is that objectively, and I don't need to study shit other than what's in the ring, fucking around with fire and glass and needles, well, they're probably fake cinder blocks, but objectively, that's more dangerous shit. And WWE is safer because they don't do shit like that. Objectively. Being a Fed that when you go to Australia, you can't even have a ring made the same way that your wrestlers work in every time they fucking come to work. For some reason, that is objectively less safe. I'm sorry. There's just no arguing that. Now, whether that results in the same amount or less injuries, I don't know. Maybe it results in the same amount or less or more. I don't fucking know. I'm not studying it like you claim you are. But at the same time, Dave needs to admit that when you're fucking around with fire and shit, that's way more fucking dangerous than not doing that, just objectively. And then Luke Ryan says, years of absolute twaddle. And then Dave Meltzer says, you can't teach stupid. And then LoPiccolo says, Happy New Year. You can't teach stupid. Dave's resolution is to keep publishing it. Sources say 26 is the year of the horse. Blinders on. Cognition optional. All roads lead to the glue factory. Booked that way. Oh, man. So here's more. Here's a nice little Photoshop. The complete first season of Fantasy Island. Oh, my God. Oh, my God, man. Should Bryan be the little guy? What's his name? Tattoo? Should he be Tattoo? Shouldn't fucking Bryan be Tattoo? Sorry. I don't know, man. That is so good. They're all popping me so far. So, moving along here, LoPiccolo says, SMH, don't blame me for what's about to happen. And so Dave, again, when one of the best who ever did it said this for decades, maybe people shouldn't be so ignorant in the first place. And so we saw that already. And this was Nick giving the warning, like, don't blame me for what's about to happen. So he went super savage on Dave. So LoPiccolo posted this thread, and he's like, anybody want to see a body? Did Picasso ever paint a chalk outline? Only Murders on the Timeline season 2. And so I retweeted this potential fraud. I don't know, man. We'll see this thread and how it plays out when it plays out. And Nick posted this. I told y'all it was the year of the horse. Straight to the glue factory. That's how I roll. Like sugar on my. That's how I roll. Like sugar on my tongue. I am become death, destroyer of worlds. I have become death, destroyer of worlds. Not prophecy, math. I don't make the rules. And so he's just dropping all of these hilarious, like Panda Watch. It's right here. It's in the video. Here, he put it in the video. The video that he strapped in. Yeah, see, he did the fucking. That's how I get down. Kicking the dog over there. I'm sorry, man. That is not even funny. That's actually fucked. That's actually cooked. Oh my god. Okay, so moving along from that, he just went off on him, but he warned him. Like he just chose savagery. Nick LoPiccolo chose violence that day. And then he quote tweeted this, said, I told you it wasn't my fault they built the stadium where there was a tunnel in the end zone that I scored in. It wasn't my fault the doors were open at the tunnel. In that tunnel, it wasn't my fault. There's no illegal for me to run through that tunnel. Don't blame me. You can blame the architects of that stadium. You can't blame the University of Texas for taunting us. You can blame Robert Bailey for setting up the whole thing by knocking the first person out. You can blame Craig Erickson for throwing me the ball. You can blame the defensive back for not being good enough to cover me. It's just not my fault that I ran through that tunnel. Damn. And so basically he's just saying, like, look, dude. And he tagged me in a few of these, and he's just saying, like, it's not my fault. Like, he's pretty much just saying, Dave, you opened Pandora's box here by saying you're one of the best to ever do it. You know? And then, so Dave had this to say. So Ramiro Paredes responds and says, Julian blocked me for saying I'm watching CMLL after SmackDown. He's a certified WWE bootlicker. Now, let's see, man. Gaming, politics, wrestling. Are you sure it isn't because you might have talked shit to him? And then when he looked, he saw politics. And then you were like, I don't really fuck with bros like that. It could be that too. The block button's there for a reason. Like when you see scabs with fucking 2 followers who all they do is just respond like brain dead dummies, and it, you know, block people like that, you know, they can't, or just people who just tweet to the void and they get 0 likes on anything they ever tweet. It's just like, you can just block a motherfucker like that. You know what I'm saying? So who knows if that's why he blocked him, but yeah, who cares? I'm sure this Ramiro guy has blocked people before too. But yeah, I called it out though. I will say, like, Julian will, I don't want to call him a bootlicker. Like, he just stands what he's a fan of. And I don't hate on sickos for standing AEW. It's just the approach to it, man. It's just the approach. That's all it is, man. Like, welcome new WWE fans with open arms. Welcome new AEW fans with open arms. But don't sweep for them and do all this sicko shit. And when your biggest advocates are accounts from like fucking India and Nigeria and South, whatever the fuck, in Asia or whatever, you know, chances are it's a fucking room full of fucking dudes on phones, just drama engaging. It's everywhere. It's everywhere on Twitter. It's in all of social media. Some people call it dead internet theory. Some people just say it's bot farms or whatever the fuck. It happens. There's companies that hire fucking bunch of people. We've covered this so much on the show, but that's where the sickodom, where it's just like, okay, if you're an AEW fan and you're like, I love this shit to death. Yeah, the attendance fucking sucks. Yeah, Tony's pretty fucking, if you can just say that shit, then it's all good. No one gives a fuck. No one cares that anyone likes, you know, some people like campy, shitty movies. I don't like the Terrifier movies. I just cannot get into them. I think they're lame as fuck, and I love horror flicks. It doesn't mean I don't like horror and I'm not a true slasher fan and all this shit, right? But the problem is that sickos try and pull that shit. We run. You guys remember we read those tweets? We run wrestling. We'll decide what's safe. That's what the sickos respond with. It's like, bro, shut the fuck up. You ain't won no chips yet. You haven't won any chips yet to be saying shit like that. The biggest victory lap they ever fucking took was them firing CM Punk, who was their only fucking hope. But, yeah, and then Dave Meltzer goes, oh, I'm well aware. Guys like him are deathly afraid of reality and lash out and say the silliest things. Oh, Dave, really? Because why can't I quote tweet this or like this? Oh, really, Dave? Because why can't Phil Marks bookmark this or comment on this? Because are you deathly afraid, or is it because I pointed out when you tried to say that Nick Khan fucking is friends with Ariel or whatever the fuck he said, so Ariel's a shill, and I pointed out, well, you're friendly with the Bucks and Hangman and them, so aren't you biased towards them? Fucking I get blocked. Why can't your boy Phil retweet this or like this, Dave? Because people like him are deathly afraid. So people like you? Stupid idiot. Fucking idiot. So you just exposed yourself right here on Dave Meltzer Dumb Moment of the Week, huh? Fuck. So you're an AEW bootlicker because that's what I say, and I'm blocked over hidden now. Is that why, Dave? Because people like him? Dave blocks everyone. He's in a fucking sicko bubble. Holy, yeah, this is the Nick LoPiccolo's been trying to make this a meme too. Like the face you make when it's like, what the fuck did you just do? Did you seriously just count to 3? That's what that face is. Let's go, dude. So Dave Meltzer, I always tell people, so this guy here, let's read this actually. And so this guy says 5-star matches is the worst thing to ever happen to this sport, takes away the focus from what's actually important. Oh, God. And then these fucking retards. Look at this guy. Good professional wrestling. No, dude. 5-star matches, Dave's 5-star matches are the worst thing ever. Because you have people booking for one tard. The King Sicko Vecna himself. Okay? Good professional wrestling matches. No, the 5 stars that he gives 5 stars are not good matches for the most part. Are the worst thing ever to happen to this sport. Fantastic sentence. And then Dave goes, good tasting food is the worst thing to ever happen to the restaurant business. Dave, what you say is a 5-star match is not good wrestling for the most part in 2026, especially. Good tasting food is the worst thing to happen to the restaurant. Well, you fucking tards like to say that. I'm saying tards way too much, but I'm fucking worked up here. You guys always say that McDonald's is just garbage, slop, gross, and they serve 1 billion people. So according to you, yeah, having good tasting food, if you have shitty food, it's the $1 billion corporation. According to you, dumb fucks, when you fucking choose, when you select your selective outrage, when you choose what fucking dumb argument to run with that you guys flip-flop on all the time, according to you, yeah, McDonald's, even though you all fucking eat it, okay, because everybody does. According to you guys, the sloppy, shitty food is serving the billions of people, and the Wagyu beef is what? The Wagyu beef that not as many people eat. The fuck are you talking about? You can't just flip-flop around with your fucking analogies. And this is why I fucking debunk all of these analogies all the time. I wreck these analogies all the time. Because they don't work. Good movies are the worst thing to ever happen to the movie business. No, they aren't, but good movies have tanked at the fucking box office. You can't make this analogy. It's pro wrestling. It's not food, stupid. It's not music. You don't just listen to wrestling. It's audio and visual, okay? And it's an amalgamation of television and sports and competition, okay? It's a combination of those things. So it's not a one-to-one. You can't just one-to-one. Oh, movies, or that's when, like, Raj, I call it out too. You guys want to call Raj a bootlicker or whatever the fuck? when Raj says, "Oh man, in the movie the hero wins," no, it's not a movie. It's a comic book timeline. I pointed this out. So I'm keeping the same energy across the board here when people do these stupid fucking analogies. You know what analogy we can use? What worked in pro wrestling, this thing that's been around for 200 years or whatever. We can just look at how long pro wrestling's been around, 150 years or whatever the fuck it's been. I don't even remember. And we can look at that and go, what worked? Oh, okay, there we go. It's been 100. We have a century of fucking stuff we can look at. Peaks and valleys, highs and lows. Just compare it to that. Holy man. When movies suck, people don't go, oh, well, the best hamburger is Wagyu beef, Brian. They just compare it to like this in what the difference is between movies in the 70s and the 80s and blah, 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 and shit like that. You compare it to there's been movies, there's been pictures, for almost like 100 years or whatever the fuck. When did the first movie come out? 20s, 30s? I don't even know. Maybe even before that. I have no fucking clue. But it's just like, and then good songs are the worst thing to ever happen to the music business. Yeah, again, you guys say, well, Taylor Swift isn't the best singer. Yeah, but she sells the most records. So now you're saying she makes the best music then too? So your Taylor Swift, McDonald's analogies, you just completely flip them now to try and make this other point, which is what I made to debunk those shits. Like, yeah, McDonald's has completely serviceable and good enough food for the masses to say, if you get me this Big Mac and my fries in under 10 fucking minutes and my large Diet Coke in under 10 fucking minutes and make it cheap enough, once in a while we'll fucking indulge here and you can serve billions of people. I can't indulge in Wagyu beef every day or once a week or once a month or fucking, some people run to McDonald's for their coffee every day. That's the service they provide. It's also the service. You're not factoring that in. So that's why AEW is the shits, because the storytelling aspect that's outside of the ring going into the ring is part of the service that we expect in pro wrestling. It's called getting heat. It's what UFC does when they do the promotion they do. And even UFC does a shitty job of promoting, like with their posters and shit these days, they're the shits. But that's why they hold press conferences and these sorts of things. Okay. There has to be some drama there. That's why the commentary come up. They write out little storylines to tell the fucking audience. This is why even UFC, they run the cold open and then they show the fighters come into the building in the main event. Then they run packages for them. You know what I mean? Throughout the show. And then they go, here's them warming up before our co-main event. And then they go, okay, they're about to make the walk. And then Megan O'Leary's there spitting as they come down the aisle and shit. There's a reason they do all that extra storytelling shit, because it's not phony wrestling. But there's a way to fucking do it. But again, that's part of the service of like being a fan. And even NFL fucking does this, man. Even NFL does this for their games, dude. But meanwhile, Dave wants to sit here and go, oh yeah, so good tasting food is the worst thing. Well, you guys said McDonald's shitty and talk about Wagyu beef. McDonald's doesn't serve Wagyu beef. They're serving more fucking cheeseburgers than Wagyu beefs are being sold today. Period. More fucking McDoubles are being sold today than Wagyu beefs. Flat the fuck out. The nice cuts of Wagyu beef. Period. Point blank, flat out, buddy. Flat right out, buddy, and to the point there, bud. Okay? And it's the same thing with you guys tried to say Taylor Swift isn't the best singer, but she sells the most shit. So are you saying she does make good songs? Oh, why? Because the technicality of the singing and shit doesn't have to be the best to have a hit record. Just like to have the being able to intricately cartwheel into a springboard tope rana to the outside. Oh my God. Oh. Just because you can fucking do that doesn't mean you're going to get over, or that is the best wrestling, or that is the best book shit, or that is the best creative shit. For the wrestler, yeah, it's the most like, it's cool creative expression when you can do shit like Ninja Mac, where you fucking do 7 cartwheels and then backflip outside and then backflip up the ramp 100 times. Yeah, that fucking rules. Like, it's funny to watch time and time again. It's a cool spot. And like, that's very creative to think of some shit like that for sure. And like to be able to express yourself physically like that. But you just go watch mixed martial arts then. That's why it's called mixed martial arts. Fucking stupid. So Dave, again, just flip-flopping on his own bad takes. And then this guy goes, hilarious. What is wrong with people? And then Dave says, I always tell people if you're saying something about wrestling and it doesn't pass the food, music, or sports test analogies, it's almost always going to be stupid. Meanwhile, I just debunked you, Dave, and you just sounded fucking very stupid.
Stupid idiot.
That was a 5-star takedown in the Tokyo Dome that I just gave you, Dave, because you're a dumbass. And I just debunked all of those analogies and why they don't fit, because that's dumb. And I'm fucking blocked, and you fear hearing what I have to say. Debate me then, Dave. Debate me. Pull my clips up of my show, debunking you, and then try and debunk my debunk. Let's see if you can do it. And so LoPiccolo responds, and look at these two guys. Fucking, where are you? And I'm so sorry. Oh my God. Tonight will be the night that I will fall for you. You very young. Oh my God, man. Yeah, I'm just a kid and life is a nightmare. Oh man. So LoPiccolo says, now it all makes sense. El tío Rumeres me el. I'm gonna fucking. Is there a translation? No. I'll butcher it. So I'm not. Oh man. Yeah, I'm just a kid. Yeah, and life is a nightmare. Shit, dude. So the number of the best friends, that's another one. That's another show. We're actually gonna save this thread. It's incredible. I found an absolutely incredible thread from Meltzer Said What here that I didn't realize he had ongoing that we're gonna go through in another show. But basically, here is how Dave like gets his information and how he discerns shit is from marks like this. And this just might be a troll, actually. I'm just going to be honest. I don't know. We'll see. Does this person have me blocked? Mate, have me blocked here. Let's see. If they have me blocked, it's not a troll. Because they're just like a Dave sweeper. Yeah, has me blocked. Yeah, and then they're marking out about the 63rd and final sellout for CMLL and shit. So this is a real person. Okay, so this is my first year voting in the Observer Awards, and I feel like this is a good time as any to reveal just what I voted for. Big thank you to all my friends who helped contribute to my choice, and to Dave Meltzer and the staff for making it easy to vote. Holy fuck, man. Now, I'm not sitting here saying my penmanship is the best, okay? I typically write in cursive, but Lex, is this a fucking
I don't know.
child? What is this?
Oh my God, it's the greatest thing I've ever seen.
This is the same person who wrote this. Looks like a 6th grader wrote this. And it's all printed out. And it looks like a literal child, dude. Like he can't stay in the lines and shit. Look at this. Like didn't learn cursive. And these are the folks like, is this the guy who gave him the internal memo? Oh my God, dude. So Connor Murphy, and shout you out, bud. My Observer Awards 2025 ballot. Bro, you don't got a laptop. You couldn't. Yeah, dear Santa. Looks like a kid's Christmas list, buddy. You didn't have a fucking... You couldn't have wrote this on the phone you took the picture with, and oh my God. Oh man. I don't mean to roast the guy, but shit. Again, I don't even know how did anybody decipher what he meant in any of this. This is what he mailed into Dave, and Dave already can't write without typos and fucking bad punctuation and shit. So What is he? How did he decipher this? How did you fax this in? He faxed it in.
Poor people don't like AEW.
Holy man. Oh shit. So I mean, for real, that's who's voting on the shit. That's who's messaging Dave. That's who's glizzy glazing him and AEW. That's who's sending him in shit, is just like dudes who like can't fucking spell or like don't. I hate to roast the guy's penmanship. Okay, it's low blows here today. All right, I'm sorry. No, shout that guy out, man. Keep doing your thing, but like, and then to brag about it and pull the curtain back. Dave's not, and who is that? Who the fuck is that to where they're voting on it and Dave trusts them to vote on it over someone else? Why is that person's take more valid than Alfred Kunawa? Because they glaze you and you know what they're going to vote. And you can control these people with your shit narrative. And the people you couldn't do that to, Dave, have fallen off. People like Brian Last and Jim Cornette and shit who used to vote in these things. I don't know if Jim voted, but Brian Last used to. I think he'd get his ballot or whatever in the mail. The only people responding to these shits are people who like take you seriously, and they're redacted, bro. I'm sorry. Like, they're cooked. They've been cooked. Okay. And so speaking of Alfred Kunawa, here's just, again, a little cut of Dave. We played this before, but I just wanted to play it again because Alfred dropped this little video again here to remind people, go and check out Pro Wrestling Bits YouTube channel. The fucking stars coming out. Jim with the tennis racket. Oh god, it's way too good. Hi Tony, thank you for thank you for bringing my Wrestling Observer fan fiction to life. Please put it this way, please have Ospreay, please have Will Ospreay, he will please have Will Ospreay put it this way in Japan on April 4, 2021 at Sakura Genesis. Well, Will Ospreay won his first IWGP World Championship after he beat Kota Ibushi, and running out of time. So please have Will Ospreay win the AEW World Title at Wembley. Here's 6 stars for your troubles. Oh no. Oh no. Oh man, that's so fucking funny. We gotta give definitely a round of applause to it's a great clip. So lastly, we have Dave talking about New Japan and CMLL a little bit. And we'll start with the CMLL stuff because it's just one clip. But then Dave sort of puts his foot in his own mouth, and then he absolutely puts his foot in his own mouth with the finale clip here. But in 2025, here is Dave and Brian. I believe Dave is with Tryon Bryan here. Brian. And they're talking about New Japan, or pardon me, CMLL and their record-setting year in 2025.
The year did end with a record set by CMLL. 3 straight sellouts in a week.
They sold out Friday night. They sold out Sunday, late afternoon, early evening. Sold out Tuesday
And
night.
like any of these shows, if you guys want to play the nitpick game, because you guys know I don't really care about like, oh, the sellout, they sold out the setup or whatever. It's just like, okay, then that's a sellout, I guess. I don't really care, when Carney's Carney their shit up. I don't care about that. But like if you want to be one of those technical hounds who are like, no, there's empty seats. Like I had people sending me pictures of like, yo, Nuge didn't really sell out every seat. Like for Wrestle Kingdom, there was empty sections. And like whatever, they still did. Actually, the final count. Oh yeah, we figured it out. And Dave and none of these guys are reporting on it. I found out what the actual final count was because they said it at the show. I think they said it was like 47,900 and something on the broadcast. So it was actually sub 50K people. And they said it on the broadcast during Wrestle Kingdom. I think I entirely forgot to bring that up. A good thing I did because I can point out how Dave isn't talking about that either. Right? But the dude on commentary, not one of the guys going, but they had someone there with them. I don't know who it was on commentary, and he would chime in like once a match, but he would actually say some real good shit. And he said like 47,900 or 46,900, whatever it was. So maybe someone can sleuth that number out for me while we play this clip. But if you want to be technical about it, it's not like they're sold out, like not an empty seat in the house every show. But still, congrats to CMLL. They're fucking hot right now. Good for them. Bad Bunny showing up and wearing Mystico mat. Awesome. Good for them. I won't shit on that or diminish it at all. I would say AEW needs CMLL more than CMLL needs AEW and shit. And that's how they treat them. And that's how they treat MLW as well. CMLL is clearly hotter in Mexico. But again, do you have an abundance of luchadors that you're trying to make stars, or are you just letting their stars run rampant on your shit and not pushing your own guys? See what WWE's done. And again, to contrast, they're making their guys stars and bringing their stars to Mexico, and they're making some of their stars from Mexico more known in America and shit. Tone's not doing that. So if we want to talk about which relationship's better, yeah, AAA and WWE washing in that regard. You want to talk about what's hotter? I think Dave does a disservice to AAA by not talking about how AAA wouldn't have done the big houses for as expensive as what it costs for a fucking ticket to go see AAA shows in America. Right? Like CMLL, if they do a show in America, I don't think they're going to sell as expensive of tickets and as many as AAA would. Like they're doing a good job in that regard. But kudos to CMLL for selling all these fucking tickets. JJ has said on the show that they own the arena and they just fill it for free. Like it's free to go. And then people make money off concession and merch and shit like that. I don't know if that's true. I think they do sell tickets, but I don't know if he meant just like sometimes or just to fill it out. Like, oh, we haven't quite sold it out. Everyone get in here. Are they doing that? I don't know. So kudos to CMLL. Okay. I'm not going to hate on CMLL in this. All of my vitriol is towards Dave Meltzer.
I cannot recall them ever selling out on a Saturday, and I can only recall one Tuesday sellout. It is unprecedented. I think that they probably ended up with over 1.1 million spectators, paid spectators, at Arena Mexico this year, which is another all-time record for any arena in the history of wrestling. They ended the year with 63 sellouts, I believe it was. So they actually did.
And when they own the arena, like, how do we know what they're reporting isn't phony? Like, if WWE owned the arena and then said, we ended the year with the whatever, Dave would 100%, or even if Tony said it, he would 100% question that. He would 100% be like, oh, I don't know if that's the real number. Like, you can't tell because they own it. The same way, and I know this because when they teamed up with ESPN, Dave's like, oh, journalism's done and it's out the window and they're just going to shill for WWE. So he'd be melting down. So who knows if CMLL's even accurately reporting they could just say it's always a sellout every time. So again, I'm not trying to shit on them. I'm just saying Dave spurgs out about the 93,000 attendance to this day. He's not even going to ask one question about this fucking record or be like, well, we don't actually know, and point out like they own the arena. So I think that's a little, because even when Bad Bunny was there, you guys saw, we could see the videos from Bad Bunny's perspective. There was a lot of empty seats even in that show. So are they all full blown, can't fit a fucking ant in this building sellouts? I don't know. But again, that's not on CMLL. This is on Dave for the way he's reporting it.
More than WWE.
Or it is on CMLL, but I mean, they're going to work. Workers are going to work, okay?
Or 64, some number like that, as far as like all their arenas, that they sold out every arena. There's never been a time in Mexico where an arena.
And then it's just this one picture, like, yeah, this rules, but what about when Bad Bunny was there at that show and the fucking, you could see behind him, like the upper rows were fucking empty behind him, So, fuck, I don't know.
That size is sold out 3 times in the same week.
I don't know how
NXT was at its peak, because I remember they sold out the Barclays Center. It was, I think it was like when Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, Nakamura. I think that era when they actually drew really big crowds. I think that they may have done a weekend like at the Barclays Center where NXT sold out, along with maybe like a pay-per-view and maybe a Raw or a SmackDown. I'd have to look it up actually, but I seem to think WWE has done it, but probably only 1 or 2 times. I mean, obviously WWE for WrestleMania has sold.
So recently WWE's hasn't sold out a fucking 2-night pay-per-view and then sold out a Raw and then sold out the following SmackDown, Dave? Are you fucking kidding me? And maybe they've done it.
Oh my God, it's the greatest thing I've ever seen.
So recently, WWE hasn't sold out 2 back-to-back night events or sold out their setup, quote unquote, and then fucking the next night sold out a Raw, then sold out an NXT, then sold out a SmackDown in the same week recently. The Performance Center isn't a sellout every week. I don't know, man. I think Dave is like real just talking out his ass here.
Out of 50,000 seat stadium 2 nights. So, which is far more impressive, but it's still something that,
Yeah, so there you go. He just said that right there. 50,000 2 nights for a PLE, 50,000 2 nights in a row. Okay, and then Raw comes after those 2 nights, which I promise have sold out, a bunch of them. And then SmackDown's in a lull right now. Some of their live events are drawn better than some of these SmackDowns. You mean to fucking tell me that they didn't sell out? Dave's talking out his ass, and he's like, no one's done this in the history of pro wrestling. Well, except, WWE's done this a couple times, probably like this year. But this year CMLL did what no one else could do. What the fuck, man?
Meltzer Inferno.
He's just pride, man.
I mean, for, any other promotion, it's a quite incredible
in the history of wrestling, all of wrestling. Except WWE, and then it's quite incredible. Bro, make that distinction first. Like, say, bar WWE, which is the outlier number 1 all the time. Everything else, this is how I view it, and then you can talk about they did this or this, But 1.1 million tickets. Shout out fucking CMLL and shout out Lucha. And fucking too bad Tony doesn't know how to book like crossover or shit and get like one of his lucha stars super over in Mexico right now and take advantage of this partnership. Instead, the guys he's trying to get over there are fucking French Canadians and Maxwell Jacob Friedman. It's fucking stupid, man. So let's move along to Nuge here, okay? So Dave Meltzer talks about Aaron Wolf, and he compares him to Mr. T and Lawrence Taylor in some capacity, and perhaps it's a fair comparison, like debuting at a WrestleMania. Maybe in that way it's a fair comparison. Let's listen to what Dave Meltzer has to say here about Aaron Wolf, who I thought, if you guys watched his match with Evil, you would all be like, oh, come on now, Phil, this is garbage, But if you look at it in, I don't know, I'm trying to tell people, I'm trying to get it over with people. My agenda that I openly admit is like, look, Aaron Wolf, he gets it. He was there. His timing was good. His spots were all good. You got to slow down a little bit. Every noob does. He's a legit Olympic gold medalist. They put the title on him. He's like a fucking, they're doing, They want him to be like, this could be their Goldberg type guy. And in the match, the reason you guys would say it's shit is not because like the wrestling wasn't good or the crowd wasn't there or anything. It's just because House of Torture, literally, they threw powder in his eyes, interfered, took the buckle off. But some of you guys might love that. They did every cheat they could do in the book to beat this guy, and he overcame, beat a former world champion, and won the open neverweight title. It actually ruled. I think it ruled, personally. Okay. And they just really were like, we're going to push this guy. Like, we're going to smash him over your head first thing. And his strikes looked good and shit when he was doing strike exchanges. Like he was on point. I thought Aaron Wolf looked good. To be in a match, your first match, you have to do the powder spot, the selling of the turnbuckle, of the exposed buckle. The fucking guy interferes on you when you're hitting the rope. The ref's distracted. His timing, his spots, everywhere he needed to be, he was where he needed to be without making it look too obvious and shit. Like, he was right there for all this. And so I give Aaron Wolf hats off to him, and for pulling it off at the level he did. He's no Logan Paul, right? But even Logan Paul's first match or two was a little rough. He pulled it off, but like his first match was kind of rough. His first couple appearances in WWE were kind of rough. But he just got it right away. Aaron Wolf, it's like, for doing all of the schmazes that there are to do in wrestling. I can't remember. Did they throw a fireball at his ass? They might have. You know what I mean? They did every schmaz there is to do in fucking wrestling. Every gimmicky, we're going to distract this guy in wrestling. And in his first ever match, and he sold it all well. He was there for it all when he needed to be. You know, I mean, I can't applaud it enough. 5 stars. You know? It's not, again, the greatest match of all time, but it was a solid debut. But Dave sort of gives some context as to like how they're trying to push this guy. He's saying they want him to be like the god, and he's going to carry New Japan for the next however long. Meanwhile, he doesn't put Tsuji over, really. And Tsuji's the guy who's carrying New Japan right now for the next little while, and who's getting people re-interested in it and making people mark out about the title. And what is his vocation right now? Fuck AEW. So that's why Dave won't put that guy over. Here we go.
We had the Evil Aaron Wolf match, and the story was that Evil told him, if I beat you, you've got to shave your head and wear the black tights and black boots.
So he comes out with a shaved head and wears black tights.
So Aaron, before the match, shaved his own head, and he takes off the deal. He's got the Young Lions outfit on. It was not flattering.
He does not have for a world-class athlete, you know, it's like he has a terrible physique.
It's because guys who look like that will fuck you up. Okay? Tyson Fury. Aaron Wolf. Okay? Yes, these big jacked monsters. And like, let's face it, man, a bunch of people were doing roids. And back in those fucking Russian days where these machines and these Mark Kerr guys and shit, they were on the juice. I'm not saying Kurt Angle was, but I'm kind of saying Kurt Angle could have been, especially when you see documentaries like Icarus, okay, where the whole fucking how Russia got banned from the Olympics. I know you guys know about this. Russia was banned from the Olympics. Why? Because all these guys are on shit. We're on shit. All the Dagestani. This is why Khabib's not the GOAT. Or maybe he still is, because like everyone in MMA was on shit for the longest time, but that whole Khabib Nurmagomedov team in MMA is on shit. They've all been busted. They've all been busted on shit. And I bet if you drug test Aaron Wolf, he became world champion, not on shit, because look at his physique. And guys who look like that will fuck you up. Look at the bloodline. Look up Jacob Fatu. That guy will fuck you up, dude. Okay, so fuck it. You know what I mean? If he'll fuck you up. And he showed the ultimate respect to pro wrestling by not being a fucking mark for himself and coming out in some gear. Hey, it's my first match and I'm doing the Logan Paul thing where I've got gear and an entrance and a Pokemon card and my glasses. You know?
But, you know, like he's a shooter and he's a star. And I mean, you know, it's like the people were totally behind him and they worked the match to get the people even more behind him, and the match worked.
And chat's calling it out. Eddie Kingston. Where's the fucking right? That guy looks like, at least Aaron Wolf looks like he works out. There's guys who look like that who work out. Okay. Eddie Kingston doesn't even look like he works out. You know what I'm saying? So you don't hear that shit. You just hear Dave like, oh, him and Mox is a fucking 4-star match, him and Joe. Right?
Wolf gets his big win, and man, this place went nuts when this guy. It was for the never open weight title. He won the belt.
Like he's got buys and shit, dude. Look at him. Like he's a fucking guy who can lift some weight. Okay, he'll throw a big ass dude over his head. He did it in the Olympics. You know.
And yeah, they went crazy. The one thing I will say is, I thought the execution of everything he did looked good. I thought his selling, especially like taking corners and stuff like that, I thought he looked really green.
Oh yeah,
and
right, and that's just like you got to learn that over time, right? It's just you learn that over time. It's just the in between. What do you do and why? Because Aaron Wolf is a guy who has judo flipped someone, dislocated his finger. The adrenaline's going. You ignore it till you're done competing. So that's why it's tough for some MMA and that's why Ken Shamrock deserves more credit because he could really pro wrestle, and it's hard for some of the people who cross over because they're trained to like in between moves. It's selling sells. And it's just a matter of like when you're fighting in combat, you're training yourself not to sell, whether it's grappling or whatever, So, and for him, it's just he'll get that as time goes on.
The main thing was like, I mean, he was gasping for air by the end because he's just like excited and he doesn't know how to pace himself really yet. And man,
yeah, just pacing. Brian's got a good assessment. He's just got to slow it down a bit. And he was real nervous. You could tell when he came out to the ring and he was standing and he was kind of like looking around the building. And he looked so fucking nervous.
And he was just huffing and puffing, so to speak. And but he made it.
I've never seen a guy with so much pressure on him, which is another thing. Maybe that may also be why he got tired. It's like nobody's ever had so much pressure on them in their first match. I mean, except for maybe like Mr. T or Lawrence Taylor, or something like that. But they were not being counted.
I think Ronda Rousey had a lot of pressure. I think Logan Paul had a lot of pressure in his first match. But as far as like, I will agree with Dave in that they did every schmoz thing. I already talked about this, but it's not only your first match, but you got to go out there and fucking like take the Mr. Fuji dust and sell it. Like that is a lot of pressure. That's a lot of shit that you learn with time, how to do the gimmicks and shit,
To carry a company, they were just counting on to do one gimmick match.
And so is he saying that,
except for maybe like Mr. T or Lawrence Taylor, or something like that, but they were not being counted on to carry a company. They were just...
So Dave keeps pushing this narrative that Aaron Wolf is there to carry the company into the future. Into the future. Is that legit? I don't know if that's legit. I don't know if that's legit that they want him to carry them into the future. He's 27. How many years did they sign him for? 10? Or is it more like 3 or something? He could just leave and go to the Fed or AEW in 3 years. If Tony Khan likes him enough, he'll fucking try and poach him. So I don't know about this carry him into the future, bro. But maybe he does, man. Maybe he's a Nuge for lifer. So speaking of WWE, Dave Meltzer, again, he's crying about Nakamura. Nakamura should have been there, even though Dave is the one who just made up lies and got everybody's fucking hopes up about being at this fucking show in the first place.
Takeshita did an interview. He had an armband on like Nakamura. Nakamura told me since he's not allowed to be there, he wanted me to wear this so it's kind of like he can be there, And by saying he was not...
I'll wear this so it's kind of like he can be there. Like visually, you mean he's there in spirit, Dave? You mean he's there in spirit? It's kind of like, that he'll be there.
This just in, we have confirmed.
Like, bro, learn to fucking speak well and write good. You know what I mean? This guy spends all day writing. He doesn't know how to fucking say anything properly or use fucking whatever. We covered it already. The typos and all that shit.
Not allowed to be there. I mean, a lot of people got really upset and, wrestling politics is what it is. I mean, if there is no period in wrestling history where Nakamura would have been allowed to do this show, and this is, now that's not a defense because that also tells you just how fucked up.
Oh, he actually cussed for once. He actually cussed for once and said fucked up. It's upsetting people.
Wrestling and promotional wars are, because obviously he should have been there. And whatever, like, it's like, I will say this, like, I know there will be people who argue this greatly, but I do believe that Okada proved that he absolutely should have been the guy in the match. No, there's no way Nakamura could have matched this good with him. No way. But
so there's no way Nakamura could have had this good of a match with Tanahashi? No way. Why? Because he's a Fed guy now? Jesus
Nakamura
Christ.
should have been allowed to be there by, when there were, it wasn't that he was.
Lex Luger should have been, or Sting should have been there to induct Lex Luger into the Hall of Fame, Dave.
Again, I don't know what was the reason he couldn't be there. The presumption was that WWE would not allow him. And WWE, again, look, AEW let Billy Gunn do the Hall of Fame. They let Jericho do that John Cena tribute thing. They let Daniel.
What does he mean? The Jericho do the John Cena tribute? And no, here's where Dave's lying again, because again, I don't know how many people fucking talked about this, but I'll tell you right here.
Tell us what you know, you goddamn liar!
I'll tell you right here that fucking when WWE was getting loosey-goosey and just showing like Daniel Bryan and all this shit, AEW sent them a cease and desist or whatever. A C&D, dude, to fucking WWE to get them to stop showing wrestlers that are currently contracted to AEW. They tried to pull a fucking power move like that, and that's another reason why fucking Brie Bella ain't coming back to WWE anytime soon.
And do the Hall of Fame. They let Jericho do that John Cena tribute thing. They let Danielson do that John.
No, they don't. They don't let anyone do anything. Those are people that they just do what they want, and Tone has to suck it up and deal with it.
Cena tribute thing. It's like, WWE could have let him do this show.
Why didn't they let Sting do the fucking whatever? And WWE could have let him do it, but who? Now Nakamura, I guess, did say like, yeah, I tried. I wanted to be a part of it. But it's like, why is it okay? Again, Dave's like, oh, they let Jericho do the Cena thing. No, everyone's just doing a Cena thing. Even Samoa Joe did Cena shit in his match. Everybody just did a Cena thing because it's Cena's last year and Tony's not going to do shit about it. They do what they want. Okay? It's a contrast. Like in AEW, they do what they want. In WWE, people got to do what the office wants them to do. Now, could WWE have sent him? Could he have gone and shit? Yes. Should he have been? Yeah, I would have liked to see it. But him just adding all this extra to pretty much like a rumor that he made up at first, where he's like, both guys want to do it and da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Now, Nakamura did give an interview. He covered it on PWT Live Show that apparently Nakamura was like, I did everything I could to go, but just didn't work out. And then you can point to, they had him on this SmackDown show or whatever. But it just goes to show you that, again, Nakamura versus Tanahashi would have been the bigger deal. And then Dave still diminishes it and goes, he wouldn't have been able to have as good of a fucking match as Okada did. But it would have been a bigger deal, or else we still wouldn't even be talking about this shit. We wouldn't even be talking about this shit in the first place. And I don't know if having just 7 AEW guys go out there after he retires, and then they all sit there and do their entrances and their poses and shit. I don't know if that was the move either. It just goes to show all the New Japan fans, hey, look at all these people who fucking left us. At least WWE isn't fucking rubbing their noses in the shit. So moving along here, Dave Meltzer had this assessment on Tanahashi and Okada's match.
Tanahashi and Okada, I thought, was one of the best matches I've ever seen.
So Dave says that this is one of the best matches he's ever seen, which it wasn't, but it was just like a brilliant it was an awesome Legends match. I thought it ruled. And then he says that the other match is like the greatest match of all time. And then we were just reading how Okada and Takeshita had the greatest pay-per-view opener of all time. So already in 2026, this guy's saying everything's just the greatest of all
best
fucking
guys,
time.
Tony Khan.
Like zero rhyme or reason. Everything's just goated. And it's fucking on this same show. Dave saw the best match he's ever seen and the greatest match of all time.
I mean, just for drama and everything, it was just like absolutely ridiculous. Tony Khan did a great job with Sting.
So if it, because literally he calls, you guys will hear it in another fucking clip. Tsuji and Takeshita, he says, is the greatest match of all time. So, Dave, you're sitting here saying one match is the best match you've ever seen, and then the other one's the greatest of all time, but they're both on the same card. How is that even possible? So, which one was better? You know, it doesn't even make sense, because that one would be the greatest match you've ever seen, whichever one you think is better, whatever, you know? And then again, he has to make it about Tony Khan. He did a great job with Sting. No, he didn't. I disagree. I fucking agree, man. Sting's retirement was like mid as fuck. It's more remembered for Darby doing one of his many dumb stunts. I don't even remember which one. Is that the one where Darby jumped off the ladder through the glass? Because again, you don't remember it for anything else. And Tony sold 15,000 tickets or whatever, and he was selling them for fucking $1 before the show started, last minute, to get people in, which is fine. And there were celebrities there, and people wanted to see Sting's last match and his sons and all that shit. That stuff was all good. But as far as like, I don't remember any of his run. It just, I don't know. People glaze Sting's retirement way too much, I think.
Tony Khan did a great job with Sting. And I mean, in the ring, they did. I mean, that match with the Sting's last match was great, but they didn't do a post match like this. And I mean, I've seen, you know, I mean, it's like, I thought that WWE did a good job with Cena, you know, other than in the post match I'm talking about. And match is a different story, but this like,
so is the match is a difference. They did a headlock, Brian. That's not allowed.
It just like blew it away. Some of it was
It was the exact same. So I broke this down. I put out a tweet. A bunch of people interacted with it. It was the exact same. Tanahashi didn't give a speech. He was bawling his eyes out and said like a second worth of dialogue while he's crying. They had 17 fucking AEW guys come out to their music, one at a time, just stealing not even the New Japan roster. They even had Naito come out, who's not even wrestling anymore. And Tanahashi just cried, dipped out. They just clapped for him. It was the exact same thing. Tanahashi even lost with a smile on his face. It was literally 1-to-1. They did a bunch of fucking what Dave would call rest holds, and they paced themselves. They didn't really rest, but there was some action. They went to the outside of the ring, but it was just like false finishes. And then the evil heel who was flipping the crowd off fucking won. It was the exact same thing, 1-to-1. And the post-match, it blew it away. No, it was the same thing. You were just clapping like a little baby watching Miss Rachel fucking while looking at Osprey and all your faves come out, and Shibata and all the 5-star fucking merchants come out.
Hashi's personality and everything, and it's like it's so obvious that Tanahashi is like one of the greatest wrestlers of all time. You know, I mean, in ways that, you know, in so many different ways. I mean, in importance, you know, you take Tanahashi out of New Japan.
Of all time in Japan.
Who even knows if the company survives? Certainly doesn't flourish. I mean, there's
not of all time in general, of all time in Japan.
You know, he had just an incredible charisma, incredible in-ring work rate, incredible mind.
Work rate, bro.
I mean, he went out there and this guy cannot move. And he had like an absolutely incredible match. And granted, you know, he had Okada in there with him, and he wouldn't have been able to do it with almost anyone just because of, you know, the nature.
So Dave is sitting here going, this guy's the greatest ever, and he can barely move, and he had such a great match, and compared to anyone, he's the GOAT, but he needs someone else who's one of the greatest in New Japan of all time, to have this match, or he couldn't have had this match. Well, the greatest of all times can have a match with a fucking broomstick, buddy. Okay? That's why you're just such a stupid idiot.
Of the movement and everything. And he could have won that match, and it wouldn't have been. I never thought he would win, but he could have won that match. It wouldn't have been the end of the world for him to win that match.
I would have buried Okada so hard, dude.
But, you know, he didn't. They went 33 minutes, and I mean, it was just, that made the show for me.
Yeah, for sure it did, bro, because they brought out all of your faves after, and you could clap like a seal about them after. And so this is what he had to say about Yota Tsuji and Takeshita. So he said right before, the greatest match of all time was Tanahashi versus Okada, which he's only saying that because your boy Phil calls John Cena versus AJ Styles the greatest match of all time. And so here's what he has to say about Tsuji and Takeshita.
Tsuji facing Takeshita was a global title versus IWGP title match, winner takes all. If you're looking at, we're getting a guy over, he's winning the title. It would have been the main event had it not been for Tanahashi. He's a guy they want to be a new face of the company. I mean, this match was perfect.
From a technical standpoint, like, this was a match of the year. It was that great. 30 minutes nonstop.
Match of the year just started. This is how you know Dave is just a fucking dumbass. It was an amazing match. Early front runner for match of the year. That's what you say. This could be match of the year right here.
It was that great. 30 minutes. From a technical standpoint, like, this was a match of the year.
This was a match of the year. What?
It was that great. 30 minutes nonstop.
So far, this is match of the year. This was a match of the year, bro. It's 20. It just started. We're a week into the year.
Creative. You know, Tsuji did a lot of the Takeshita spots. Takeshita did the Gene Blaster. You know, so it was like it was like, in a sense, like a WWE
thing. Gene Blasters, what they used to shoot fucking hair follicles into Dave's skull.
Thing, except like from a technical standpoint, like way above.
Blaster, I barely know her. Oh, go.
Same type of a story, but just so much better. I mean, Takesh is so freaking awesome. And Tsuji stayed right with him. I mean, Tsuji knew, look, this is the biggest match of Tsuji's life, and he delivered. I mean, I could not say nothing bad about him. He delivered in the clutch here.
In the clutch. Oh, man. So, and I just wrote, so 4 days into the year, Dave saying what's the best. It's pretty much my tweet. I already bitched and said to you guys already.
Yota Tsuji.
So here is Dave talking about Yota Tsuji bringing the V4 back.
Yota Tsuji brought back the old championship belt. You know, there was the previous item.
They called Dave Yota Stoogie.
IWGP title belt, which was not called the world title, but the IWGP title, the one which was the name of the championship from when it first started until a couple of years ago when they did a unification match.
The Gene Blaster. That's what Dave did in his fucking pants. Dave blasted his jeans watching fucking Okada and fucking Tanahashi.
Then changed the name to the world title. So Tsuji won it. And then a new belt was created. So he wants to go back to the old belt and taking away the world from the title. So now it is no longer the IWGP World Championship. It is just the IWGP Championship.
I did hate that IWGP title. It was like a triangle. I just thought it was ugly. So I'm very glad that he brought, because the one he brought back actually was a really nice looking belt.
Yeah. But I mean, he's talking about how, like, the lineage of this world title is only a couple of years, where the lineage of the other title goes back to the 80s.
Because, bro, he's trying to shake off the funk of fucking AEW, man, and he's trying to be like, I'm ushering in a new era, like actually do something to reinvent and to rebuild. Bryan, AEW's in a rebuilding. He's trying to like rebuild he's trying to wash the stink of old New Joff, man. All the people who abandoned them and shit.
Well, yes, they did do that weird thing where they not only introduced a new belt, but they said it was like a new title. And so the lineage like started out. I remember everyone was complaining about that. It like started over at 0.
It was
Yeah,
stupid. It was just
dumb.
stupid. It was stupid. I mean, so now the idea is that like the last 5 years are a dream or something. And so there's like, the title ended.
No, they never said it's like a dream. They just, the lineage of one title ends, the other begins. That's all he's saying. Meanwhile, Dave is saying this is stupid, but for Okada, Mr. Okada, he'll fucking sweep for the Continental, Global, Unified, whatever the best
guys, Tony Khan.
God, what a fraud.
Whatever, 5-6 years ago, and now it's starting up again, the old title, and then that title that they've been having doesn't count. The whole thing.
On PWT Live Show, we literally broke down, some fucking nude sicko broke down the lineage and how you should view it, and it's very simple, Dave. It's not that stupid.
And that's just all completely stupid. It all should just be the same lineage of the same title. It is the same title.
Yeah, I mean, maybe he's right. Dave's a
Go to
simpleton,
Suge.
though. Dave's a simple man, and to prove as much, shout out Jeff Lane, who is coming on PWT, by the way, okay? It will happen. It's just him and I, our schedules just, we're both loosey-goosey, and it'll just happen, okay, sooner or later. But and shout out Vince Russo and the brand, and Jeff Lane here for giving us this clip. Here's Dave just being completely redacted.
So, and Takeshita, they're gearing for, the young superstar, babyface, that former heel thing. So,
and Takeshita, they're going for the superstar, babyface, heel sort of like thing.
Poor people don't like AEW.
What the fuck is this guy talking?
So, and Takeshita, they're gearing for, the young superstar, babyface, that former heel thing. So, I mean, you can see
the former heel thing, the young superstar babyface, former heel thing. What the fuck is this? One more time for the people in the back. This is the Uwatu the Watcher of pro wrestling.
So, and Takeshita, they're gearing for, the young superstar, babyface, that former heel thing. So, I mean, you can see
the character, bro. I guess that's the character now.
So,
and like, I think Dave's trying to say, oh, they're gearing up to have him. He used to be a babyface. Now he used to be a heel. Now he's a babyface that everyone adores. And again, to redacts like Dave, that's like, and it's what Vince Russo said, even though, bro, let me tell you that even though, bro, JCW, I invented characters in wrestling, bro. Even though Vince Russo is laughable at times, he's right. Like, that's not a fucking character thing. That's like just good guy, bad guy. Like, who's the good guy? Who's the bad guy? And okay, so they're going with the trope that, oh, he's beloved now by everyone, but you can't, the problem is that's not something you can artificially create. And that's not a character. There's no story there. It's just, oh, they're going for this thing because of matches. It's fucking silly, man. It's silly.
And Takeshita,
people care more about why is he becoming the good guy after he was a bad guy babyface thing. Or whatever Dave's saying.
They're gearing for, the young superstar, babyface, that former heel thing. So, I mean, you can see
the character, bro. I guess that's the character now.
So,
that clip is so good. I need that for the soundboard. And because you're such a dumbass, Dave, I will forever clown you. Bonus episodes of Dave Meltzer Dumb Moment of the Week, exclusive and early release to Patreon and stuff like that coming soon. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Dave Meltzer's Dumb Moment of the Week. We based him too. We brined him as well. We brined him overnight, dude. Yeah, thank you guys for being here. I will see you for PWT live show, Sicko Saturday. Polish those flutes, fam.
oh my God, it's the greatest thing I've ever seen. You're overdue. I just felt it's something that makes you look good, and that's cool, and You know, I'm all for it, but I think you need to tone this down because now it's getting obtrusive to the show. But they can go in the afternoon for a U.S.
Hold
show,
on a second.
as they did there, and they
Dave?
can do 180,000 buys for an afternoon show, which they've also done for All In. So
Okay,
we
hold
know
on.
they can do. We know they can do big.
Can I
numbers for an
continue
afternoon
this before you cut me off? We
Yeah,
know
go ahead.
one thing.
Yes.
We know it
No, I'm not-
might have done well because
I'm
it went
not-
on first.
I'm not saying it would.
Here's my thing, Dave.
But here's okay. Wait. Okay, here's the thing. Oh my God, that's the greatest thing I've ever seen. I mean, it didn't mean anything to me. It was just a match.
That's the problem, Dave. It should mean something to you.
Give him a quick squash win just to show that, like, you know, he's not a loser.